I'm going to call the meeting to order, and the board was in closed session. We did take some action. I'm going to call on Dr. Hansen to describe that action a little bit later. Sorry for running late. We had some very good reports about our financial investments that were very important for us to consider. At this time, I'm going to call on Alexi Rodriguez. No, I'm not going to do that. Alexi, hang on a second. I'm going to call on the Army ROTC, the Junior ROTC from Riverside Polytechnic High School to come forward with the flag, and then for Alexi Rodriguez, hi Alexi, I think you're Alexi right there, hi, to lead us in the pledge. And they kind of give you an idea where everything, Alexi? Okay, when the flag dips. So if Polly would move forward.
Right. Ready? Hold. Left. Peace. Soldier, soldier. March. Ready, stand. Go.
Put your right hand over your heart. Face the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Go. Right. Peace. Upward. March. Left. 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 Right. Left. Left. Right. Left. Left. Ready. Up. Forward. Arm.
Alexi, thank you. And I'm going to ask Dr. Angelo Farouk, who represents your area. I think you go to Bryant, to talk a little bit about you, introduce you, and then you might have a few things you'd like to say. Dr. Farouk?
Thank you. So, as Trustee Hunt mentioned, Alexi is a sixth grader student at Bryant Elementary School. She is currently serving as Bryant's Student Council President. Alexi maintains good grades, and she has earned being on the Principal's High Honor Roll. She is very creative, thinks outside the box, and has an endless source of energy. She volunteers in the Bryant School Library, maintaining a specific shelf of books, and she plays the flute, percussion, and band, and was selected to be on the Central Cluster Honor Board Band. So thank you so much, Alexi. I want to come over here.
They have supported me through all of my grades and helped me get good grades and play my flute, and I love them so much, and I'm so happy with what they've done for me.
Yes. So, Alexi, I saw that you want to be a zoologist. What inspired you to want to be that?
Well, my mom, she had a cat, and I love to take care of him. And we also have a couple of animals at home. And my nana, she works at a farm and stuff, and at kind of like a zoo, sort of. And she just inspired me so much. So.
Oh, yes, please.
Thank you.
Yes.
Your mom and dad, this will be on our website soon, so you can see it, and you can call the aunts back in New Jersey and let them know to see that, Lexi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Dr. Root. Thank you, Lexi. We're going to now introduce our. I'm sorry. Sure. Yeah, I was going to do that. Mrs. Alavey started this about 6 years ago, that we have some of our arts, our wonderful arts throughout the district, and I'm so glad to introduce to you tonight the Ramona Brass Quintet, directed by Brian Gallagher. Brian, welcome.
We're going to play 3 selections for you tonight. This is the brass choir, a Ramona student. We'll start with a traditional Japanese piece entitled Sakura. Then we'll move to Monteverdi's Soul of My Heart. And then we'll close with an arrangement of Farandole from Bizet's Mine.
The Ramona Bass Quintet, directed by Brian Gallagher. Brian, you introduce your charges quickly?
Yeah, this is, you know, we service about 150 instrumentalists at Ramona, and so this is Monica Robles, she's a senior, Eva Cazares is a junior, Ziz Vargas is a junior, Damon Artiega is a junior, and Aaron Merritt is a junior. And you know, they're great students. They're highly involved in their academics. I think, aren't you guys like 9 and 10 or something in your class? Or you're both 9, so they're tied for 9th in their class. I mean, it's just great to see, you know, students that, you know, these 3 do drumline, they all do jazz. I mean, they do it all. So you know, very pleased with this group. So.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for your dedication. All right. Alexi, we know there's a little cat that's counting on you to be home tonight, so you don't have to stay with us unless you like learning about board governance and all, but zoology is much more exciting. So we appreciate you and your mom and dad being here, but I'm going to go ahead and give you the free will to go home if you'd like. Before we go forward, we're going to call on Dr. Hanson. Dr. Hanson brought forward a recommendation for a very important position tonight, which the board approved, and he'll introduce that person to all of you.
Thank you, President Hunt. And as Mr. Hunt mentioned, the board did take action in closed session. Mr. Lee made the motion, and Dr. Fruch seconded it, and all unanimous in the hiring of a director for nutritional services by the name of Mr. Gavin Brody. And Gavin, if you'd please stand up and remain standing. I'd like to introduce you and read a brief bio on Mr. Brody. Mr. Brody holds a bachelor's degree in hotel and restaurant management and also has had over 20 years of operations and management experience. His experience has been in schools, restaurants, events, hotels, and higher education institutions. His previous occupation was as the director of operations at a nutrition management services company. One of Gavin's favorite things about this type of job is the daily interactions with students and school personnel. Gavin's knowledge of food, business, and operations experience, along with an innate desire to please the customer every day, make him a good fit for Riverside Unified School District. So on behalf of the board, Gavin, welcome to Riverside.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. Gavin, I meant to ask you, is it Dodgers or Yankees? Is it Dodgers or Yankees if you're from Brooklyn? Yeah. We already took a vote, didn't we? All right. Yeah, okay, that works for you in your favor. This is a public meeting. You are invited to be a part of this. You have 2 ways to do that. One is during Section D, which is public input. Anything that is not on the agenda and you would like to address, please go back there where Beth is, fill out a card, and she'll bring it up here to Ms. Anderson. Or if there's an item on the agenda you would like to address, please, the same thing on the card, denote that item. Before moving forward, do we have any changes in approval of the agenda?
Thank you, President Hunt. If
Yes, sir.
the board wouldn't mind, if we could move up from our action items H1 to the front of the agenda. It's
All
a
right.
brief presentation from a member of the public and proclamation too.
May I do that before then, after high school and before the superintendent? Does that
You
work?
can do that in a very...
You got to get home to Miss Mo, I know, so.
You can do it right now.
Oh, we can do it right now? All right. Well, Dr. Hanson says we can do it right now.
If the board approves, they'll
I
make it.
second
Does
it.
the board concur?
Got a second?
Second? Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, then we're going to move forward H1, and this is resolution, well, actually, Doctor, you go ahead.
Thank you, President Hunt. It's recommended this evening that the Board of Education adopt resolution number 30, proclaiming January 2016 as National Mentoring Month. And in addition, we have with us this evening Ms. Jennifer O'Farrell, Executive Director of Big Brothers and Big Sisters in the Inland Empire, and we'd like to provide Jennifer with the opportunity to give the board a brief update on how Big Brothers and Big Sisters programs certainly affect and are a blessing to our own Riverside Unified students. And so, Jennifer, thank you for being with us this evening.
Well, thank you, and we're just so honored to partner together and to really hopefully be the first to wish you Happy National Mentoring Month, as it is a great month, and each of you in your service to the students is really empowering and changing the life of children, and so we're just excited to play a value added to the district and really support you in your efforts and your vision for. I don't know if you received the PowerPoint. Yes, everyone's nodding. Oh, it's behind me. But it's in the agenda. Okay. So one of the things is that we're specifically targeting students that are really at that tipping point of falling through the cracks. And similar to the guidelines and to some of the mission of LCAP, really falling in line with students that are being exposed to abuse, that are coming up in areas and degrees of poverty. And so really providing them at a tipping point a mentor that can come alongside and really change their trajectory, where their trajectory may be down one way of truancy and of dropping out of school to really bringing them back because of a value of a mentor. And we do that two ways in the district. And so we do that through our 110-year model of an adult that just is a great altruistic person in the community that wants to come alongside of a child and a youth. But we also do that through what we call our high school bigs program. So we have high school student leaders that mentor elementary school students, and we do that through students at Ramona and Arlington High School, and they go to Jefferson, Jackson, and Madison. And so that's really kind of a double impact we see for the district, is that we're kind of serving two kids at once by empowering one young leader and really having them see a peer mentor to just say, hey, you graduate high school, I can do it too. And so really wanting to increase the graduation rates and support you in that. And that's really what we're proud to say is on our third slide is that last year we're so happy to see that 89% of our kids grew in confidence. And what does that mean? It means that when they're confident, because they can play catch, when they're confident in simple things, means they're confident in the big challenges and hurdles that come. And so what we're happy to say is that last year our statistics for high school graduation rates was that 98% of the children we serve graduate on time. And on time is a huge thing for kids facing so many adversities and struggles. But 90% last year went on to college and all to our local universities and colleges. And so we're just happy to continue to support and be that value-added service to you in the district so that we can support kids and continue to serve more. We're serving about 220 youth within our USD, but we know that there's a larger need, and our list continues to grow, and we really want to continue to serve every kid that's at that tipping point to be able to say, you have the ability to graduate, move on, and contribute back to the community. So thank you, and thank you for celebrating National Mentoring Month.
Thank you, Jennifer. Mr. Lee, do you have any comments you'd like to add to this?
Not other than thank you, Jennifer, for coming and sharing with us. I think we all up here know how important it is to have a partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters with our school district and the positive impact that it's had on our kids. So thank you for coming here tonight and sharing with us the successes your organization has had with our organization. And please tell any one of us on the board how we can better partner with you and help get more of our kids on track, if they're not on track to graduating, and then more importantly on to college. We know how important that is, and your numbers speak for themselves. So thanks you for the work that you do, and thanks for coming tonight and share it.
Thank you.
I have if you could take a question from Mrs. Allaby.
Hi, I was just wondering if you can explain, how do you become a mentor through your organization? How do people who want to be mentors become mentors?
You sign up with me right now. No, so you can go to our website, iebigs.org, and there is a space that says volunteer, and then you just plug in your zip code, and then that allows us to know geographically.
So you can do it all online? That's great.
And then you come in and interview, and the process begins.
That's great.
Thank you.
Now, this is different. I have a request to speak from Board Member Gail Cloud, and I know she's powerful, but I'm assuming that might be you, Dr. Farouk. You just we haven't fixed it back there yet, so...
So, Jen, I just want to thank you for all your efforts, and we've all been obviously very blessed with mentorship, and my wife and I are very excited. We're going through the process to be a big couple, so we're really looking forward to that.
We're very excited, too. So, so our big couples are where a husband and wife can mentor together and serve a child, so we're excited that Dr. Farouk is a part of the team, part of the family.
And Mrs. Locke Dawson.
Thank you, Jen. It's wonderful to hear this. I'm very passionate about support for our kids other than just academic support. And as you know, in this day and age, our schools are where a lot of these kids spend most of their time and where they get most of their positive reinforcement in a lot of ways. So I think you help us achieve that goal too. And I just wanted to mention too, I saw Misty Copeland a couple weeks ago speak at UCR, and she attributes Big Brothers and Big Sisters as her road out of poverty and her road to ballet, and look at her now. She's an amazing ballerina. So know that your organization does great things, and we're very proud to have you part. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Farrell. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh, yes, now this is H1, so Mr. Lee, you asked to move it. Do I hear to move approval of H1 resolution?
So move.
Okay, there's Dr. Farouk and Mrs. Locke Dawson, Dr. Farouk. We have a motion and a second on H1. Please vote, signify. There we go.
I don't think it's working.
It's not working. Okay. There we go. Now it's flashing.
It's also not up on the board.
Okay, that's approved unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. All right, now we go back to our regular agenda. We have a very special guest tonight that we're just very proud to see him here and thankful. So, Dr. Hanson, would you introduce our special guest?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Actually, I'm going to move down to the podium and be more formal on this one. As I walk down, I'd like to invite up to the podium to join me Poly High School senior Josh Nava, his father Ron Ford, and his mother Daisy Nava. President Hunt and members of the board, it is truly my privilege this evening to introduce to you someone who we have known by name, many of you, and for the experience that occurred as Josh Nava was playing football for Poly High School earlier this fall. And because of the injury that occurred to him and the medical condition that he found himself in, you know that the whole community and many of us had Josh and his family in our thoughts and prayers because of how severe it was. And over the course of my many visits to the hospital, from early fall until December, I have made some friends in Ron Ford and in Daisy Nava. And I met Josh for the first time when he invited me to his 18th birthday party in December, the day after he got out of recovering things such as that. And one of the things that he requested is to come to the board and publicly express appreciation, give thanks for the outpouring of the love and the prayers that the community had. And so indeed it is my honor this evening to introduce to the board Poly High School senior and football player Josh Nava.
Thank you very much. Well, I'd like to say thank you to you again for supporting my family. I'd like to say thank you to you, Mr. Hunt, and the rest of the board. And I want to thank God, first of all. You know, what I went through wasn't an easy thing to make it out of. And I want to thank everybody that prayed for me and all of RUSD, the schools. The support was crazy, and the words that I'm trying to come up with, I can't really come up with them because my life was, you know, almost gone. And so I am just grateful that I am still here, and I'm grateful that I have the support of all you guys because it is really helping me, and I am walking again, and I am able to, you know, do the things that I couldn't do when I first woke up. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you, Josh. I would, I shouldn't have read. If the rest of the board would join me in front to meet Josh, I want to just read to you. We have I'm sure you'll always remember this, Josh, but maybe if it ever has to jog your memory, this will help you. It's from Josh Nava, Poly High School senior, in recognition of Josh's courage and strength as he recovered from his football-related injuries and was an inspiration to family, friends, and the community, and I'll add, and this Board of Education.
Thank you. Thank you.
Don't do it again. This is from the board and Dr. Hanson for you. And, we sure appreciate it. Yeah, sure. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. You're welcome. Thank you both. Good to see you. It was good to see you smiling. You're such an inspiration. So let's all get a picture here with Josh. Come on, Dr. Hanson.
How about Ron?
Next time, Doc. Are you back on campus?
So I play the guitar, ukulele, drums, and then I'll play the violin.
Look forward to seeing you graduate.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Let me just say to finish up, it's been a long 3 months. I can't even imagine for Josh and his family. And Josh, the second semester starts this next week at the high school. Josh will return to Poly High School. I don't know if many of you know, besides being the starting safety on the Poly High School football team, a 4.2 GPA, he was also in Zero Period Orchestra. And Josh is going to be returning next week to take Zero Period Orchestra. And then he needs to finish up his government class and his English class, and he's going to be doing that through home studies. But kudos to Poly High School, their principal, Dr. Rowe, and that staff has come together and do everything we can to help Josh be successful as he graduates and gets prepared for graduation. So I just wanted to update the board with that as well.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson, for yours and your staff's work on this. I could probably be a smart politician just to adjourn the meeting now and be declared a victor, but we have other items to go on. But that's really a high note. Dr. Hanson, you have John Robertson, our instruction specialist, has a report to offer tonight. Item A2, and I'll kill the name, Tohoku University Future Global Leadership Program. Hi, John.
That's right. You got it right. President Hunt, Dr. Hanson, members of the board. I'm very pleased to introduce you to two Riverside STEM Academy students, Nevadita Kanrar and Alex Herrera. They will share their experience of visiting Tohoku University in Sendai, Japan, as part of the Future Global Leadership Summer Program. They'll give you some information about that. And joining them will be Reiko Sato from the Comparative Literature and Foreign Language Department at UCR, who also works on behalf of Tohoku University and the city of Sendai with regard to a couple of what we hope will be annual events coming up, and she will provide some background on these relationships and that are at work at these projects.
Dr. Hanson, Mr. Hunt, members of the board and guests, thank you for having us today. We have a handout for you, which you could page through along. And we're delighted to be telling you about our trip to Sendai, Japan last August. Tohoku University invited us to take part in their Future Global Leadership Program to introduce us to science majors offered there in English. Several students from other Asian countries took part in this program, but we had the honor of being the first school invited from the United States to take part in this program. So the first day we had a cultural experience. We did ikebana, the art of Japanese flower arrangement, and through this activity we really got a lot of insight into Japanese culture and mindset.
Okay, and then for day 2, we took a tour of the mechanical and aerospace engineering labs, specifically the nanotechnology labs that they had there. And so if you take a look at the pictures we have, you'll see the clean suits and the little slippers that we had to wear before going into the labs, because a lot of the work that they do is on the microscopic level, and so it's best to not get any dust on the equipment or any of the chemicals or materials they're working with. And then at the top right, you'll see a little laser etched chip. It was given to us as a gift, and on it is a prayer wishing us to do well on our exams. And on the next page, you'll see a picture of me in a clean suit.
So that same day, we took a tour of Tohoku's chemistry department, and at Tohoku, the program is really unique because they do a wide range of chemistry studies there. They do things ranging from materials chemistry to the other side of the spectrum, biochemistry. In this picture, we're learning about protein structure and modeling.
And so that was day 2. For day 3, we took a tour of the applied marine biology labs. And if you take a look at the map, you'll see that Sendai is actually located really close to the ocean. And so that allows for the researchers to do a lot of field work. And that's one of the great advantages that Sendai or Tohoku University has as compared to other universities throughout Japan, because most other ones don't have access to the ocean.
When we're taking a tour of the marine biology program, we learned a really, really cool thing. We learned how to tell the age of a fish to the day. So how you do this is you have a fish, and obviously it's dead, and you take out its otoliths or its ear bones, and you plate it on a slide. You look at it under a microscope, and what you see is a number of rings, which basically is the number of days the fish has been alive. And if you look to the picture on the right, you can see several prominent rings, and those prominent rings indicate the number of years the fish has been alive. So this fish is 5 years old. And after this short lecture on the fish, we were just passing out some STEM stickers as gifts for the students and the professors. And Dr. Katayama, who taught us this cool fact about fishes, he immediately asked for a sticker, and he put it on his laptop. You see the picture here. So we kind of have a STEM presence in Japan now.
And then later that day, we took a tour of the University House Senjo, I think it's pronounced that way. And those are like the apartments for the students that are living on campus. And so this gave us good insight as to what it was like, or what it would be like to live on campus. There's a picture of the room and the kitchen, and pretty much, essentially everything is shared in the apartment. Like the kitchen, the restrooms, the laundry room, those are all shared. And so I think that makes for like a very family sort of atmosphere, because as you can imagine, like going to a foreign country to study is not as easy because you don't have that many friends or family living there. And so the sort of communal lifestyle of that the apartment provides makes for a really comfortable experience.
So the same day, we had a tour of our sister city, Sendai, and we first got to visit the beautiful Rinnoji Buddhist temple, and we had a short meditation experience there, and afterwards we got to see their beautiful Japanese gardens. And while we were in Sendai, we got to take part in their biggest festival called Tanabata Matsuri, and in the FGL program is scheduled so that the participants can take part and be involved in this festival, and we're really privileged to have the chance to be in Sendai in this really important time. And it's the biggest festival in Sendai. Literally the population doubles because about 1 million people come from adjacent cities to take part in the celebrations. And this festival is characterized by decorations hanging all around town called Tanabata. You can see an example here, but if you turn to the next page, you can see an example of really exquisite Tanabata. These are made from thousands and thousands of hand-folded paper cranes, and they prepare these the whole year just like we would be preparing floats for the Rose Parade.
To add on to that, the Tanabata Matsuri Festival really had such a lively atmosphere that is something similar to what we have here with the Festival of Lights in Riverside, and even something like the county fairs that we have throughout California. A lot of the same elements that we have here were in Japan, such as news crews everywhere, recording for television, and then, of course, people taking selfies everywhere. And then, in addition, there were also people in traditional Japanese wear, as you see there, the summer kimono. And really, the familiar aspect to this and just the overall exciting atmosphere made for a really, really fun time, especially when we tried out different festival foods. We may not have liked all the festival foods that we tried, but it was definitely fun to try them out, as food is a very unique piece of different cultures. And of course, there was a fireworks ceremony ending the festival, and we had tons of fun experiencing that as well.
So we got a chance to renew some old friendships when we visited Sendai, and we got to connect with the group from Tohoku that visited Riverside past March, and we watched fireworks and had a lot of fun together, and we're really excited to have the group from Tohoku to visiting Riverside again this March. And we had a final day reception at the hotel, and this is a picture of all the participants. And we handed out some gifts like Riverside citrus magnets, citrus honey, and we really had a great time. Like, we thoroughly enjoyed the experience we had learning about Tohoku University and Japanese culture. And thank you for your time and attention. Ms. Reiko Sato will be telling you more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for having me here today. I'm a lecturer at the UCR and also work as a liaison of the Tohoku University to UCR and Riverside, the city of Riverside. My job is to bring the four-way contract between UCR and the Tohoku University and Riverside and Sendai to life. Last year, when I asked the Riverside STEM Academy to host the Tohoku Young Scientist Program, they kindly hosted 15 high school students who were selected among the top 150 students in STEM field in Tohoku area in Japan. So when I happened to learn that the Tohoku University was considering inviting American high school students to visit the Tohoku undergraduate program as a part of the Tohoku's recruitment effort, which is FGL that they just presented, I suggested the first invitation should go to the school in Riverside. So I'm happy to see the relationship among UCR, RUSD, and the Tohoku in the STEM field especially getting stronger. And I thank Ms. Simpson and Mr. Robertson, especially on their engagement and also support. I will continue facilitating and then any kind of interactions in the spirit of the four-way contract. I hope I will receive your continued support on this. Please contact me, and then if you have any question on the brochure I brought today, it's a very thick information packet about FGL program. And then if you have any ideas for the future interactions of a program, please let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Casetta. Thank you. And thank you, young people, for sharing your experiences with us. And John, where does this go next, do you think?
Well, we have an invite for 4 more students to attend the university program in August this year. So we hope to send 4 more this year and again next year and keep the relationship going. I think it's a great opportunity for our kids.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you both for being here tonight and for sharing this with us. Audience, I only apologize to you that we didn't get to have it up on the screen. Some wonderful pictures, and I know we'll work on that in the future to make sure these presentations are something you can see as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from our high school reps. Unfortunately, the young lady, Miss Fitch, who's with Abraham Lincoln, is ill tonight. So Madison, and Madison, Louisiana, we can say Hebert. Is that Hebert? Is that right?
Yes.
All right, good.
Thank you.
So Madison Hebert from EOC and our virtual school. Hi, Madison.
Hi, good evening, members of the board, Mr. Tom Hunt, President, Dr. Hanson, Superintendent. I am very excited to report that EOC participated in the Random Acts of Kindness event last month during December. Students got to give small gifts to each other and brightened each other's days. It was really nice. We also held the Hour of Code from December 7th through the 11th, and students got to learn about JavaScript and programming. We started our first basketball team and our soccer team. It may sound not cool to you guys, but for us it's pretty cool. We're also trying to start a math club where it's hip to be squared. Mr. Dietz, our director, is leading that alongside Miss Pittman, one of our math instructors. We have a WASC visit coming up for RVS on March 7th. And we're also having a graphic design teacher from King High School come to teach some virtual classes on campus. We are really excited to report this because we're trying to work as a community with the other high schools in Riverside and hopefully get more and more teachers come to visit and teach on our campus. We also started a Principles of Leadership class in our Raincross school. Here, the students will take turns tutoring each other in their math classes, and they are learning the skills that they need to become great leaders. We have several Raincross students that have reached their academic goals so they can return to their home schools and finish high school there. We also have more Raincross students that have achieved Student of the Month and perfect attendance, and we're beginning our Spirit Days. On December 17th, we had Silly Sock Holiday Day. And on the 28th of this month, we will have Sports Day, and next month, on the 18th, we will have Rainbow Day. Does anyone have any questions?
Do you have any questions, Ms. Hebert?
That's great.
What grade are you in, Ms. Hebert?
I'm a freshman.
You're a freshman?
Yes.
Oh, you're very, well, good. You're good. Thank you for being here. We look forward to hearing more from you, and thank you for encouraging other campuses to get involved with you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next is Mr. Ricky Marino from Arlington High School. Welcome, Mr. Marino.
Good evening, President Hunt, Superintendent Dr. Hanson, and all other board members. My name is Enrique Marino, and I am the representative for Arlington High School tonight. The Lions have lost a mighty teacher, friend, and champion for students with the passing of Master Sergeant Hillary on December 28, 2015. Over the past 2 weeks, our students and staff had been mourning the loss and celebrating his life. Our students have honored him with an honor guard flag raising, special presentation of colors at the varsity basketball game and the wrestling, and held a special memorial for him at school. We'd like to thank everyone in RUSD for their outpouring of love. In Goal 1, we continue with our Student of the Month program hosted by Renaissance Board with the December and January students selected for their integrity. This afternoon, the Student of the Months participated in the quarterly luncheon. The nominating teachers and honored students enjoyed a lunch catered by RUSD's Chef Ryan. This evening at 6 p.m., Miss Montgomery will be presenting our new program, the Biomedical Sciences Pathway, led by Project Lead the Way. To interested 8th graders at Shamawa, there are also meetings scheduled at Gage and Miller Middle Schools this week. We are currently accepting applications for the incoming freshmen for this exciting project. Our student body, along with teachers and staff members, united together to serve others. In the month of December, during the season of giving, the following activities highlighted in Goal 3's impact on our school. The first one is the ASB leaders and the Lion mascot volunteered on 3 Saturdays for the Arlington Business Partnership Winterfest. Community members were treated to free Santa pictures. The second one is the California Scholarship Federation held a paperback book drive for a women's shelter and the veterans at VFW. They delivered over 100 books with the handwritten notes from our students. The Fashion Fitum Club sponsored a blanket drive for homeless members of our community. They collected 50 blankets that were distributed in Fairmont Park. Our Interclub Council, made of 37 clubs on campus, participated in the Spark of Love toy drive. Clubs donated over 100 toys. The Envirothon team and Yugo Girl Society brought in the most toys. Thank you to our RCTA rep, Mr. Van Meter, for delivering the toys to the RCTA office for us. Last one was our big one that we did was our winter rally held on December 14, 2015, which was focused on winter wishes. Students made wishes ranging from prom and grad night tickets to shoes, sweatshirts, and jeans to 3-ring binders and colored pencils. Our ASB committee organized the wishes into a Google Sheet and began working in the late October to grant as many as possible. Teachers were also given access to the list. We timidly set the goal of 100 wishes to grant. I'm proud to say that with the help of many people, we were able to grant 314 wishes. I'd like to thank publicly our Lions staff members for contributing well over $1,500 in their personal funds to make this happen for our students. Every member of our ELD, foster, and homeless population was touched. Our Golden Girls dance team and all-male boys hip-hop competed January 8, 2016 at Aliso Niguel competition and swept the competition with first place for co-ed hip-hop, first place for small all-male, first place for large all-male, and first place solo for McKenna Schulte, and a sportsmanship award. The team is led by advisor Lisa Batten and coaches Kathleen Sachs and Jesse Trinidad. Both cheer and dance have begun their competition seasons. In athletics, our wrestling program ran by Coach Mark Coate hosted the All-County Annual Wrestling Tournament, and the aquatics program, led by Coach Chris Ward, hosted the 12th Annual 5-County Water Polo Tournament. Both tournaments were on January 8th through the 9th. All winter sports are into league play. Our Royal Leaders held Cocoa and Cram for the class of 2019 on Thursday, January 14th. Freshmen and Royal Leaders studied together for finals while eating sweet treats and sipping on hot chocolate for several hours after school. Any questions?
I don't see any, Enrique, but I want you to know, first of all, we're proud of what y'all are doing. It's a great report, and but I do want you to know and share with your student body that the board will be adjourning tonight's meeting in memory of Master Sergeant Johnny Hillary.
Thank you.
And I know from Principal Smeckel how important he was to your campus, and it's just a fact of life we all have to live with. But thank you for what y'all did for his family as well. Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
All right, and then from Martin Luther King High School, Eric Manabong. How close did I get, Eric, on that name? Did I?
Yeah, you're good.
Did it okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Good evening, President Hunt, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. King High has started off the new year in a terrific manner. In November, King ASB attended the annual CATA conference, where they were able to spend the day at Disneyland and the next day attend the conference. All said, it was a wonderful experience. The week of the 14th and 18th of December, King hosted the annual blood drive. We collected around 300 pints of blood that will all be going to people in need. On December 18th, King hosted the annual winter rally themed Minute to Give It. All of the winter sports were recognized, and some fantastic performances were given by POM and the cheer team, as well as the special dance performance by our general students. And we all were waiting for this. The moment all seniors were waiting for, the location of Prom 2016 was announced. A night of illusions was upon us. On December 27th, January 3rd, through January 3rd, members of our band had a chance to go to Paris to perform in a parade called as Le Grand Parade de Paris. To be able to attend this event, RCC chose players from all different schools in our district and put them together to travel and perform together under the name of Riverside All-Stars. The weekend of January 8th to the 10th, DECA attended the district conference at the Anaheim Convention Center. Many of our students placed in their events and took overall first place in their events. On January 30th is the annual Winter Formal Dance. The theme of Midwinter is A Night in Neverland, which is hosted at the Yoba Linda Community Center. On January 8th, King ASB hosted the very first Late Night Madness, which is modeled after the famous college basketball event, Midnight Madness, with many students and parents coming out to support all of our basketball teams. In the event, our basketball players competed in the skills course of 3 points challenge and a dunk contest. The winner of the dunk contest, Jordan Robinson, was crowned Dunk King as his final dunk was over 2 people to dunk and win the prom ticket. The students, however, had a chance to win a prize as well. If the student bought an orange ticket rather than the normal ticket, the student had a chance to shoot a half-court shot to win a prom or winter formal ticket. The winner of this contest, however, was our very own varsity quarterback, Bradley Clevin. The week of January 19th to the 21st is finals week. Every student is working and studying hard to pass these exams as the first semester comes to a close. As you can tell, King has kicked off the New Year's in full drive. With many events coming up, we are very excited for what is in stores for us in the next chapters of our lives. Always remember, it is great to be King. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't see any. Yes, Mrs. Allaby, thank you.
I may have missed it. Where did you say you were going to have your prom?
It's going to be in Cerritos Convention Center.
Okay, all right, very good.
All right. And how's your basketball team? How the Wolves look this year?
They're doing pretty good this year. I think we have our records. I'm not sure what our record is, but I've heard we've done pretty good in our tournaments. Our recent game against Centennial, of course, they're very good. It was a good game, though.
Well, whatever you can do to beat Centennial, always do it. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you for your report tonight. Thanks so much for all of you young people for being here, reporting to the board. You're all good students, which means you don't need to stay for this, and you need to get back and there's some homework to do, or whatever. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's hear it for our student reports. All right. Move to section C of our agenda, and that is our district superintendent report. I believe that's you, Dr. Hanson.
Thank you again, President Hunt, and official New Year's greetings to everybody. It's hard to believe that, a lot's happened since we were last together in December. I want to again thank or welcome to the board officially again Dr. Angela Fruch, our newest board member. And it was just our last meeting, of course, President Tom Hunt and Vice President Brent Lee and Board Clerk Patricia Locke-Dawson were selected as this year's officers. And of course, we swore in Tom and or Mr. Hunt and Mrs. Locke-Dawson having won the November election. So again, congratulations to everybody, and I just look forward to a great 2016 serving this board and working together. This week signifies the end of the first semester. It's hard to believe the year's half over. And I want to wish good luck to all of the students. I have one of those students, the sophomore in high school, who are studying so hard this week at the high schools for their final exams. The time just flies by, it seems like. This evening's reports are going to be a little bit different. They're going to take a little bit longer than normal, if that's okay with the members of the board. And I'd like to do a couple things. I'm going to first ask Mace Kakish, our Chief Business Officer, to lead off. And I've asked Mace to actually come to the podium and share a little bit more time, take a little bit more time to talk about the governor's January budget and how it specifically will affect Riverside Unified. Following Mays, I'd then like to ask Dr. Lewis to talk about this Thursday's board workshop scheduled at 4:30 at Lake Matthews to talk about the master facilities plan and the upcoming potential bond. And you have a lot of information that he will share with you to prepare for that master's facilities plan. And then to conclude, after Dr. Lewis, we'll have an update from our Chief Academic Officer, Mrs. Lynn Carmody. So, Ms. Kakish.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. Good evening. Last Thursday, our team attended the governor's workshop by School Services. That's a workshop that they do in recognition of the governor's proposal of the 2016-17 budget for the fiscal year. So what we wanted to do here very briefly is really just go over the first two slides we prepared for you and then give you the rest of the state information and how it affects our particular numbers for you to review, because you will receive a complete, comprehensive presentation when we present to you in March the second interim report, which gives you a better picture of all of the changes. But we thought we'll highlight very important items that we would like to update you on the numbers. So in the first slide, it's a comparison between 2015-16 school year, which is the one we're in, to the budget year that we're preparing, which is, we're going to start that process very soon. Actually, it already started at the site level, and prepare for you a preliminary budget in May. The LCFF gap funding, that's the local control funding formula dollars. So our percentage for this year was supposed to be 51.9% of what's left from the gap. So for next year, they're also going to fund almost 50% of what would be left for that year. So if you remember at first interim report, if you remember a chart, we out of all of the LCFF dollars, until full implementation, we received 75% of it. So there was a 25, almost a quarter left between now and full implementation. In his budget, he's proposing to fund half of that almost. And from the cost of living adjustment, COLA will be 102, was 102 for this year, and it's going to be 0.47 next year. So the COLA is not going in the right direction. Lottery, this is just, again, information, just that the lottery is not changing. So that big lottery that just happened for the Powerball is not necessarily going to change our numbers for the lottery. I was hoping it would.
Didn't change mine either.
I'm sure people will come and ask you, how is that going to be affecting our district? It's not going to affect our district much for next year. There's no proposal to increase there. The one-time dollars, though, is important because last year we got an influx of dollars based on 601 per ADA. Now, if you remember, January was so low, and then all of a sudden it got so much bigger in May with the May revision by the governor. I'm predicting, and a lot of people are saying that the governor is also very conservative with the number for this year of 214, so there might be another change in May. So we'll keep you updated when it comes to that. Special education will get the COLA. So just the next slide talks in dollars versus the percentages. This year, LCFF dollars was $340 million. It's expected to go up to $356 million. So that is the 16 millions out of what's left from the gap funding. And lottery is this is just to give you an idea of how much we're receiving in lottery compared to the rest of the budget. And then the one-time dollars last year is a whopping $23 million, and this year it's 8.4 million. And just remember that we're expecting that number to probably grow. But for now, we will be planning for these numbers for the second interim report, which will come to you in March. The rest of the slides really is how did the state budget affect every single area of our budget. Like to calculate LCFF, you need base, supplemental, concentration. So we gave you some information if you'd like to look at it. We'll go over it again when we present the comprehensive PowerPoint. Any questions, though?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kakishian. Again, it's good news for us as the money is coming back to refund the cuts that we had back in 07, 08, and 08, 09. So that is good news. We look forward to this, updating the board at the second interim, as May said, in a couple of months. Okay, to prepare for our workshop this Thursday, Dr. Lewis.
Mr. Hunt, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, I want to, it's my pleasure to give you a preview of our workshop on Thursday. I want to start with just kind of orienting you to the three notebooks that are in front of you. They're quite large. Two of those are related to the long-range facility master plan of our school sites. One is the actual school site listing with ideas represented there. The second notebook is an appendices which has all the minutes of all the staff and community meetings. Those two are published documents that are represented in the third notebook. Your third notebook is your typical board notebook that has the agenda and staff reports and also has the same long-range facility master plan documents. I wanted to provide you with the good polished ones as well because they might be a little bit easier for you to read. And I do want to let you know if you're not able to take those all with you tonight, we will collect those and bring those back to the workshop on Thursday. So it brings me to explain what you can expect at the workshop. We have two primary presentations. One is the action first reading of the long-range facilities master plan. Haley Calhoun will lead that explanation and discussion and present to you all the work that's been done by our architects that have worked basically from the summer all the way up to the present to bring you the ideas that we've collected from all of our stakeholders. The second item I want to spend a little time with is the agenda for the update of our bond exploration process. This document is actually tucked into your long-range facilities master plan notebook. If you want to pull that out, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll just go through it quickly with you. There's actually three sections to the update. I'll spend a little time reviewing recent activities. the face-to-face outreach meetings that we're having. The second item is to review the activities that we currently have in progress. Our expert consultants will be present to explain to you those specific items, including potential 2016 general obligation bond scenarios. We'll talk about the draft ballot language and project list to give you an orientation to that. We'll talk about a mailer that's coming up on January 22nd. And as most of you know, we have another survey that's going to be implemented next week. And our strategist will talk to you about what we expect to find as far as the information that will be presented to you to help you make your decision about moving forward with a bond election for next year. On January 25th, the second Superintendent's Community Outreach Committee meeting will be held here in this building at 5 o'clock on Monday. I want to just reiterate you're welcome and invited to attend and join us at that meeting. We'll have up to 60 other stakeholders that have been invited to that meeting, and we'll basically be going over the Long Range Facilities Master Plan and also talk about our activities up to the present. The real highlight is to give you a sense and a timeline of what to expect as far as future meetings with you. Besides the workshop on Thursday, we'll be coming back to you on February 1st with a second reading of the Long Range Facilities Master Plan document. Then we'll be returning back on February 16th for a special study session. We'll be reviewing the tracking survey results with you. And if you're ready to make a decision on calling for the election, that will be at your discretion. And we'll be presenting ballot language and the project list that go along with that. We also are reserving March 7th as another board meeting date that we would bring back, if necessary, for your consideration of calling for the election. So that's it. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Thank
Lewis,
you.
and we look forward to spending more time and answering a lot of your questions this Thursday. And we'll finally finish with our Chief Academic Officer, Lynn Carmody.
Thank you. I have a few announcements. One is that this Friday and Saturday, we are co-hosting an inaugural Tech Summit with our partner EdSurge, the very first event like this in the Inland Empire, so very exciting for us. It'll take place at the Bournes facility. Friday, Mayor Bailey will open with a welcome, and Saturday, our esteemed superintendent will be opening with a welcome. I also would like to announce our 5th Annual Parent Education Summit will be taking place Saturday, February 6th at Poly High School. Our keynote speakers will be Ms. Renee Hill, Assistant Superintendent of Instructional Support, Dr. Michael Rowe, Poly High School Principal, and Sergio Diaz, Riverside Chief of Police. The parents will receive information like communications, how to help with Common Core, how to support your student in becoming college and career ready, financial aid, a lot of different things like that. Also, we just received news that we will be receiving our Career Technical Education Grant, which will allow us $2.8 million. Over the next 18 months, we'll be looking at spending that to support our pathways for career technical education, mentorships, our partnerships with the community, job shadowing, all of those types of things, and to extend our pathways. Finally, in front of you, you have a little packet with our local control and accountability plan forums for this year. If you want to distribute those to your friends, anyone who's interested, it will provide you all the information about our forums. We will probably having outreach as far as 15 different community meetings, but these are the main forums at each of the high school. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you, Ms. Carmody. And in closing, I'd like to share, we had some great news, but our very own John Tibbles, Assistant Principal of Athletics Director at Ramona High School, was selected as the recipient of the Southern Section Athletic Director of the Year Award for 2015-16 by the State of California. And Mr. Tibbles will receive his honor at this year's awards banquet in San Diego on April the 16th. And so congratulations to John Tibbles for representing us so well throughout the state. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Hanson. Just Lynn Carmen Day, on that, you said $2.8 million for CTE. So where does that leave our aircraft engine
It
situation?
leaves it in very good shape at Arlington for that pathway to continue and support the funding of that pathway.
Good, good. Look forward to hearing more about that. Thank you, Dr. Hanson. Well, this is time for public input. Do we have any public input? No, no public input. All right. And then our district employee groups. First up is RCA President Tim Martin, representing the Riverside City Teachers Association. Mr. Martin, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you also, President Hunt. What a great night. What a full night. So good evening, President Hunt, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. I don't generally do this, but I'm going to use my 5 minutes tonight to give you an idea about the work we've done so far this year and some of what our plans are for the remainder of the year. So in what ways are we working with district and site management? I've already reported to you that RCTA directors and instructional services directors meet regularly to discuss the different issues unique to elementary schools, secondary schools, or special education. Those meetings are scheduled to continue throughout the rest of the school year. Besides district assessments and staff development, how to respond to disruptive students in the classroom, and a myriad of implications that IEPs have for special education staff and regular education teachers, we hope, will be addressed in future meetings. Last week, our entire executive board and representatives from 4 of our schools with district management, school management, and CSEA leadership spent 3 days together on developing problem-solving practices that reflect the same principles used in interest-based bargaining, as well as sharing a killer cold bug, which I did not get, by the way, and neither did I give it. We have begun to talk about a professional growth system that redesigns evaluations and support systems for teachers and managers. This work began with a 5-day NEA conference held this last fall, attended by members of our executive board and leadership and personnel. And the executive board will be meeting in March to consider ways that we can help to pass the general obligation bond when the vote occurs later this year, for the good of our schools and students for many years to come. What services and support is RCTA directly offering certificated staff? Before students even arrived, we provided nearly 200 new teachers with a full bag of classroom supplies, ranging from whiteboard markers to flash drives, to help them through their first year. We sent site representatives to a fall leadership conference designed to provide training in order to help them influence the culture and instructional program at each of their schools. Our executive board members attended a conference in December on urban education to better understand the issues unique to urban school districts. We have provided trainings and workshops for our members and have plans for more during the rest of the year. In October, a number of teachers participated in a workshop on classroom management. 2 weeks ago, our meeting room was full for a workshop on retirement in STIRS, and another will be held later in the spring. Also in the spring, there will be 2 different trainings on instructional technology. In February, we have organized an NEA presentation on student loan forgiveness. The response has been so positive, we have made arrangements with the district to use the Poly Theater in order to accommodate all those who want to attend. And our CTA will be fully funding nearly 40 first and second year teachers to attend a CTA weekend conference focused entirely on good teaching. Every year, we offer Barbara Kerr grants, a former RCTA and CTA president, to support efforts in the arts and community service projects at our schools. This year, for the first time, those grants are being made available twice during the year instead of the one time that has been the past practice. Additionally, RCTA has annually provided college scholarship opportunities for graduating RUSD seniors. This year, we are able to double the financial amount of those scholarships. We also have some celebrations planned. On Day of the Teacher in May, we will once again serve tacos in the park. If this year is similar to the previous 2 years, we expect at least 500 teachers to join us that afternoon and evening. And we will end the year with our annual retirement recognition dinner for all of our colleagues coming to the end of their professional service. These are some of the ways RCTA is working to support all of our certificated staff who do what they do for the good of all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Mr. Martin? Congratulations on that workshop. Sounds great. We'd like to hear more about that.
Already.
Thank you.
And you all will be invited to tacos, by the way.
Yay.
Well, it's the same guy you had at the park?
Same guy.
Yeah, you better invite us. All right. And let's see what Victor's going to offer us. Victor Cisneros, who is the president this year of RASMA, Riverside Association of School Managers. Mr. Cisneros?
Sorry, I don't have any tacos for you. Good evening, Board President Mr. Hunt, Superintendent Dr. Hansen, and members of the board. First and foremost, we would like to congratulate our past president, Bernie Merez, on his promotion as the principal of Raymond Cree Middle School in Palm Springs. Although we are sad to see him leave RUSD, we know this is an exciting opportunity for him and wish him the best. Time is coming to a halt for a lot of us in RASM, and we will be actively seeking nominations for just about all of our board positions, with the exception of president and past president. You should see the request of nominations in the upcoming weeks, and if you've been thinking about joining RASM, joining the RASM board, or know someone who is, please submit those names via an email that Elizabeth Watanabe, our secretary, will be sending out. On the topic of nominations, RASM has submitted 10 nominations for Access Administrator of the Year to Region 19. The nominations were as follows. For Secondary Principal, Dr. Jamie Angulo. For Middle Grades Principal, Sean Curtin. Elementary Principal, Shawnee Dahl. Central Office Administrator, Renee Hill. Secondary Administrator, Elizabeth Watanabe. Classified Leader, Ruben Guitron. Confidential Employee, Joyce Threadgold. Personnel and Human Resources Administrator, Kylie Ibarra. Special Education Administrator, Christy Hubbard. And for the Fred J. Kiesel Distinguished Service Award, Susan Mills. Additionally, we also put forth 4 nominations for Every Student Succeeding Award for the region. Only 1 student out of the entire region, which is all of Riverside County, will be selected. And this is the first time in at least 5 years that RASM has sent any nominations for students. We hope to hear back some great news in the upcoming month. Probably by my next report, I will give you the names of those who are moving forward or will be awarded a recognition at the region level. On another note, we have 2 professional development opportunities or events that we look forward to in March. The first one is on March 5th, and it will be put together by AXA's Region 19, and they will be hosting Simon T. Bailey. So save that date, March 5th. It is Saturday. He is the author of Shift Your Brilliance, and it will be hosted here in RUSD. Location and more information to come. And then March 10th, at our leadership meeting here for RUSD, RASM, along with RUSD, will be hosting Naj Ali Khan, and Naj is the Executive Director for AXA Communications and Public Information Officer. Hope to see you at both events, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cisneros. I'll ask like I know, and I just want you to tell our new school board member, Dr. Farouk, but enlighten us just a little bit. How many members are in RASMA, and who do you all represent, just so...
RASM primarily consists of certificated managers, although we do have classified managers in RASM. RASM is an organization chartered by AXA, so it's AXA state level, AXA at the region level, Region 19, which is all of Riverside County, and then from there, each district will have their own charter, or choose to have their own charter, independent from there. AXA's charter for our USD is RASM, Riverside Association of School Managers. And we have approximately 85, between 85 and 90 members here in our USD from our own managers. It's for managers.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate
you.
your time on this annual report. We'll move now to our consent calendar. These items are be considered to be routine and will be acted in one motion. Is there any item, that doesn't mean, of course, that any member of the board couldn't pull one. Is there anyone on the board that would like to pull any item from the consent calendar? All right, then I look for, thank you, Mrs. Locke-Dawson. We have a motion for approval. A second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lee. Thank you. If we'll take the time to vote, please now. And that is approved. I lost you. Okay. We have a report from Keisha Holmes. Dr. Holmes, you're going to talk to us about the update on the RUSD Family Resource Center, soon to be centers, I think, which is exciting. Dr. Keisha Holmes. Welcome.
Good evening, President Hunt, Dr. Hanson, and members of the board. This evening, I'm going to be joined by Gabriela Alonso, coordinator of the Family Resource Center, and later in our presentation, we'll be joined by a couple of parents to give an experiential testimony about the service that they've received at the center. So I'll go ahead and start, and Gabby, you can join me now just so that we'll move a little faster here. Okay, so as you all may know, we have a board goal that that says that we want to do a better job at the way we communicate, at how we communicate with our parents and the community. And we followed that goal with an LCAP goal that specifically focuses on increasing the quality of parent and community communication, engagement, and collaboration. So as it stands, we're staffed according to the list that you see here, and based on the needs of the families being serviced in the center, it significantly is shorter than what we need. The center initially opened in February of 2015, and since its inception, we have been providing an array of services to families, including leadership development, workshops on educational initiatives, and a variety of social services through the partnerships that we've developed. And so just to kind of hone in on a few of the things that the Family Resource Center provides: comprehensive support to families, and Gabriela will go in a little bit in more detail when she speaks, resources and referrals to some of our social service agencies, as well as workshops and parent academies to help develop and to build parent leadership. And then lastly, we work with community partners to develop connections that provide free service to our families.
Good evening, President Hunt, Dr. Hanson, members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to highlight our school family community partnerships program, and particularly the services of the Family Resource Center. As Dr. Holmes mentioned, we'll be celebrating our anniversary, one-year anniversary, our Family Resource Center that opened February 5th of last year. So the Family Resource Center has been a tremendous success with our parents. The most common services that we're seeing families come in for are the ones that are listed, and that's searching for low-income housing. A lot of our families, we have our department here, our homeless education and people services that are supporting our homeless students, but we also see families that are in need of low-income housing, affordable housing in the community. They're barely making it on their income and need a place that that's affordable to live in. And also medical and dental resources. We have several partnerships in our community that are supporting our families with this. Borrego Medical also provides this service online and on-site registration for Medi-Cal, dental services, and community resources. So families come in and they're able to apply directly for Medi-Cal and other services cover California. So they don't need to go anywhere. They come to the Family Resource Center, and we have staff there from our community partners that are able to provide that service there. Also, employment assistance. We see a lot of parents who are unemployed or underemployed, so we are supporting them in updating or creating a resume. And we have computers there so they could do online job applications. And then, some of them just need to know how to go to an interview. We practice with them, those types of skills that we see parents needing. We also have a high need of mental health services, counseling services in our community. So not only for our students, and now we have our wonderful SAP counselors that are providing on-site services at the schools, but we do see a lot of need with our families needing mental health services. And then resources and referral for immigration. We have a lot of families who are interested in becoming citizens, so we navigate them through that process. One of the main things that I think is a strength for the Family Resource Center is the connections that we've made within our internal departments. So we're working really closely with other departments and making sure that we're not working alone or in silo to support these families. So bringing in and connecting resources that we already have in our district, and then those that we do not have within our district that our community partners are able to provide. And then literacy. We do have parents in our community who come from other countries and are trying to navigate English or Spanish, and they have other dialects, so we are supporting them by providing resources to either the library, or we have volunteers that also provide classes for these parents and one-on-one tutoring. And also we're a great support to our adult education here. We do have families that will come to our Family Resource Center just needing a little bit more guidance on what the adult school provides. So we're supporting their services too. And then college and career readiness. Right now we're in the midst of FAFSA. So we have students and families coming in wanting to know a little bit more about how to apply for financial aid and navigating that whole system. And we help them apply in the computers at the Family Resource Center.
Before you move on,
Yes.
if you may, I think I have a question that I can entertain from Mrs. Allaby. I think you have a
Yes,
question.
thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
It's an interesting list. It's kind of not what I imagined the Parent Resource Center to be. I sort of imagined that the college and career readiness was going to be number one on your list. What is the percentage of when you talk about services and so forth, what are those percentages of service that are devoted to students versus parent social services?
So our Family Resource Center is supporting a combination of support to social services and education. So I would say the majority of our services is supporting the well-being of our families. We believe that if the families are in crisis, that they need that support so their students could be successful in learning and be in the classroom, and the attendance could improve. So I would have to go back and look at exact numbers, but I would say most of our services are geared to the family, so they can in turn support the student.
Obviously, and this is all really necessary.
Right.
Is this duplicated anywhere else in the community?
We are working with our partners to support services of our families. So we are a starting point. We're not duplicating services. We're not a social services. We guide the families to those services.
So you just refer, basically,
Right.
to these other things.
Right. So, for example, if I have a family that comes in crisis, domestic violence, for example, they'll come to us, they'll open up, they'll tell us what the need is, then we'll guide them to the services in the community. We make sure that the children are safe, and then we'll follow up to support their needs.
Are we in any way advertising what we do?
Through flyers and through our website, yes.
Is this how we're advertising ourselves? By this list?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I would just be interested in seeing some of those flyers. I
Okay.
don't know if those have been around.
Okay.
Are we stressing that we're there to give that kind of college, the testing information, the college and career advice? Are we stressing that to our parent families?
Yes.
We are?
Yes.
Okay. So you think that word is getting out?
We are working with our schools and with Mr. Jorge Perez, who's responsible, whose leadership we
So how many
seek
kids
after.
do you think come in for just information about, say, SATs, tests, or FAFSA?
We see the majority of kids coming in during this time between January and March 2nd
Okay.
to support them because that's
Do you
when
keep
the timeline
track
is.
of how many kids come in? And
We do.
things
We
like
have
that?
a sign-in.
Okay.
But we are keeping track of the families that
Okay.
are coming in. So the children will come in with the families. They won't come alone.
Okay. Well, it's just about a year now. It would be nice to see, do you have a year tally?
Yes, and that
Oh,
will
that's
be the
coming
next-
up?
yes.
Oh, gosh, I jumped the gun. Okay.
Thank you for those questions, Mrs. Alabi. I think we all would appreciate seeing some of that mailing.
Okay.
Mr. Director, would you take a question from trustee Dr. Angelo Farouk?
So, hi, Ms. Alonso. I just want to build on something that Trustee Albee mentioned. Regarding the employment assistance, are you guys already interfacing with the Riverside County Workforce Development
Yes,
Centers?
we are.
Okay,
Yes, we
perfect. Thank you.
I have the same, I was surprised by this list somewhat, but I'm trusting you and you that you're responding to the needs that are coming forward. I went, sit there one day with y'all and you had a class for parents on anger management. And I thought, well, that's I didn't expect that, but that's interesting. And don't take my question that I'm against it or anything. I'm actually just want to know, how do I, not defend, but how do I validate that we, the school district, are providing guidance on legal immigration resources and referrals? I mean, I'm just surprised that we're doing that. So tell me why we're doing that. I know they're asking, but tell me why. Why is that important to the student?
Well, for example, we had Dr. Lewis up here talking about a bond. I think it's important that our parents are citizens and they have a vote, so that measures as the bond, benefit our school district. So we want to make sure that, the families are coming in, have security, so that their children are safe and are able to learn.
Is there a feeling among them to understand your constituents, our constituents better, that a fear of some of the rancor that's going on with some of the candidates, a fear of deportation or something like that disrupts the family? Did you want to answer that, Dr. Holmes? Or?
I don't think we have any data or research to support that. I think one of our main focus at the Resource Center is to make sure that, to the degree that it depends on the impact that it has on students in the educational environment, that their parents are present and that their parents will be sustained in their living circumstance and atmosphere, so that provides a level of security for our students. And so in whatever ways we can support parents to continue being present with their children and participating as a part of the process is what we want to do.
That's a very good answer, Dr. Holmes. Thank you. Let's keep going, Mr. Alonso, Dr. Director.
So since we started keeping tally, when the parents come in, they do sign in and let us know who they are, what school their children are from, and then what they're there for, what services we're going to be providing. So more than 2,000 families, unique families, have come to assess the Family Resource Center. When we say unique, that means we've only counted them once, whether we've only seen them once or they've come to 50, either for direct services or for the workshops that are being provided at the center. So that's representing more than 4,400 visits that we've accounted for.
I don't see it here, so may I just interject and ask a question? Of that 2,200, does it, in your opinion, reflect the diversity of our community, or are we seeing African American as well as Hispanic, whites, et cetera?
Yes.
Do you keep numbers on that, or is that important?
It is important, and every time the families come in, they do sign in, and if it's the first time we're seeing them, we do give them a little inquiry. We want to know a little bit more about their family and how we could support them, so we do have that data.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Continue.
Another part of the services that our program provides is the academies. So the academies are being provided at the school sites. We have 3 academies that our principals are able to offer at their schools, and that's the School Smarts Parent Academy, Parent Institute for Quality Education, and Parent Engagement Leadership Initiative, which is known as PALI. So from fall 2014 to fall 2015, these are the schools that we've offered these academies at. And so the parents go through these academies. They receive leadership skills, how to be involved with their students, how to navigate the school system, and they become leaders at the end of these academies. And I know Ms. Carmen Day talked a little bit about the Parent Summit already, and last year several of you were there. So last year we had the Parent Summit at Ramona High School, and that was in January 2015, and we had about 450 parents that were there that we provided workshops and information to, and we had about 250 children in childcare and the teenagers. So in total we had about 1,000 participants there. This year we are celebrating the 5th Annual Parent Education Summit. It will be held at Poly High School on February 6th from 8:30 to 12:30. The School Family Community Partnerships Collaborative, as I mentioned, we do not work in silo. We have several community partners that support what we do, and those including our internal departments that are supporting the services of the Family Resource Center. And this is a list of a few of our partners. It's not listing everyone that's here. And this collaborative was started by actually Mr. Nieto and our preschool services. He had already developed a collaborative that was particularly preschool, but as we came in and developed more connections with community partners, the list grew with our partners. So this is a few of the ones that we're working with. Sure.
And just to kind of hone in on the question that you asked, Ms. Alavi, about how we coordinate these services or how families receive these services, we don't provide the service. We more or less act as a compass to help parents know how to get to the services. And so, for example, with our partnership with Borrego Health, they sometimes bring their trailer out to our site, and they provide services for families, but that's mostly for access purposes, where we've developed relationships with those families. They feel comfortable with us, and so we bring our partners in so parents can then begin to develop relationships with them. So that's sort of how it works. And so when we advertise these things on our flyers, it specifically says a resource, a community resource, not the ones that we actually provide.
And then we have an opportunity to have two of our parent leaders share a little bit about their experience at the Family Resource Center. So I'd like to call Ms. Rosemary Moreno first. Rosemary.
Welcome, Ms. Marino.
Thank you, Board. Good evening.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you, Board, for the opportunity, and we'd like to myself personally thank the Family Resource Center for being there for us, Riverside Unified School District parents. The Family Resource Center is a place where we can go and we're warmly greeted by the staff, asking us, how can we help you? It's a place where we can get care and help that is given for free in courses and workshops for us parents in a very simple language that we can understand, such as marriage and finances, things like anxiety that sometimes we go through, and also behavioral problems that we have at home. Issues that, such as PIQE, helps us understand how we are accountable at home, and they give us the reinforcement tools in a positive way where we can help our children succeed into university, which is our dream. Such as understanding GPA, how to communicate with teachers in a very healthy way, picking up on red flags, and how to ask for help, and it's okay. Because of that, like myself, I'm very grateful for the parent support group of special needs children. It's a group that I personally am very grateful. It's a refreshing place where we can go and speak with other parents, our IEP language 504s, IRC, and we understand each other. We go to the community advisory committee meetings, we go to seminars where we support each other and give each other our time to listen without a judgmental say-so.
Yes, ma'am.
Which sometimes it's needed just to be heard. We invite you all to come and join us one day and sit with us. That'll be great. Have a cup of coffee. Thank you.
Ms. Marino, let me just allude to Mrs. Alavi's question she asked earlier. How did you find out about the Parents Resource Center?
I was given a flyer at my daughter's school. And
if I could just ask, what grade's your daughter in?
They're now in 5th grade. I have twin girls with autism. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I went to PK.
Mm-hmm.
I heard how important it is, a reminder for us how school is to make sure to be there for them, not just have them sent to school, but be with them present every step of the way. The earlier, the better. And so I thought this is a very positive reinforcement for me that I need to remind us that everyday life, school is very important.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I went to the meeting, and it was, we all have the same goals, to have our children finish school and have a brighter future.
Well, the board commends you for reaching out, and we're glad that we had services there to help you. So
Thank you, and thanks to the center, the Family Resource Center, Susana and Gabby and everybody there. Appreciate it.
thank you, Ms. Marino.
Next, we'll have Marta Oliva come up.
She said that kind of quick. Is it Miss Oliva?
Oliva.
Oliva. All right.
Good evening, Mr. Dr. Hunt, President, and Davis Hansen. Sorry for my English, it's a little bit mess, and everybody else. My name is Marta Oliva, mother of 2 children, Alejandra Plata, who attends Ramona High School, and Joshua Plata, who attends Madison Elementary. This evening, I came here to talk about my experience at the Family Resource Center, which means a lot of positive and important things for me, like education, union, growth, and a safe place to be. Why education? They offer us workshops on different topics according to the needs of families who came here asking for help. And those topics are directly related to the well-being and the progress of our families and for our children to reach a better education. Why union? Here, you will always find other people who might have needs like you. I can see the extraordinary and positive results of the support groups. They are meant to connect families of different cultures, languages, traditions, etc. Why growth? Here, I will talk a little bit about me as a mother. I have a child with autism and mental disability, which has given me the impulse and motivation to learn, educate myself, and at the same time help other parents in the search of resources, again, for a better education for our kids. At this point, we found the need to create a support group of parents of children with special education needs, which I am the president, and I proudly represent them. The name of this group is Luchando por Nuestros Hijos, in Spanish because mostly we are Hispanos and we speak Spanish. Thank you on behalf of all parents for the facility and the huge support we receive from everybody. Last, why security? We found a place to confront and resolve any situation, problems, or difficulty, whether financial, housing, education, language, or many other services. I want to give a big thank you to Gabriela, Susana, Josefa, Teresa, Raisa, Louis, and all the staff for the kindness and always greet us with a big smile and a delicious hot cup of coffee every morning. So They are every single day. They're ready to serve our community needs. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Olivia.
you.
And then just a little bit about our next steps, an update on LCAP. Our staffing, the Family Resource Center staff became 12 months. Initially, they were 9 months. We have 2 community assistants, bilingual community assistants, and they've moved from 9 months to 12-month employees. And we're working on our secretary becoming full-time. And then the expansion of the Family Resource Center, as part of LCAP, it did state that we would be opening 2 satellite family resource centers in the east side of Riverside and Casablanca. So we are in partnership with the City Parks and Recreation, who are providing support to the Family Resource Center. And we have been able to move in and open a satellite center at Villegas Community Center. Because of our staffing, we're there on Wednesdays from 3 to 6, but in the future we do see that we'll be able to provide additional services within that community, either at the community center or within one of the partners in that community. We are also in Longfellow Elementary School on Friday from 8 to 11 a.m. And then in future, we are going to be moving into the Bobby Bonds Community Center. They have an empty building there. We were already in talks about moving into the Bobby Bonds Center there. So I'm hoping by March we'll be able to move in. And then our upcoming events, Dr. Holmes.
And then lastly, starting Wednesday, our survey window will be open. And a couple of the questions we ask the families is if they've accessed the Family Resource Center and how many times they have. So that'll be some data we can bring back to help you know. And then the breakdown of demographics of which families are accessing the center also. Our summit, which was announced by Mrs. Carmen Day, will be the weekend of February 6th, and she ran down the list of some of the courses that we offer for families. We have those 2 satellites that we have started servicing families for 2 weeks now. Those have been open, and as we move forward, we will work to continue to build partnerships that help to bring resources to our families and to provide for the vast needs that they present with. And we want to use the information from our surveys with the information that we gather from families at the Resource Center to develop very surgical goals about what we need to do differently to make sure that our parent engagement efforts are having an impact on the classroom. And you guys know about the PLUS Council that we developed as a part of our family engagement quality building. And the survey is going to help us to understand more about our communication needs. We have futuristic plans to develop what's called a family or parent ambassadors, which we're calling PALs, parents as leaders. And we'll talk more about that as the time comes and those are developed. But initially, we're in the process of taking about 18 of our families from all different diverse groups through the Parents Educational Leadership Initiative to begin to develop a base for parent leadership within schools and the community. That's all we have.
Well, we have a few, and Trustee Farouk, you have a question.
Yeah, I just want to commend your efforts to engage the families in the neighborhoods and community level. Antonio Garcia and I had a chance to speak to the Casablanca community group recently, and it's being very well received that we're expanding the satellite offices in those neighborhoods. So thank you so much.
Trustee Alavi?
Yeah, I think that what I'm suffering from is maybe a bad slide, because when Mrs. Moreno came to speak in front of the board, she mentioned everything that I thought that this parent center was doing. So I heard it from her. I didn't hear it from you. The things that Mrs. Lock-Dawson and I met with for years, and to talk about what a parent center would be a place where you would get that kind of support for learning about things that confused you, especially with language, things about school, the A through G's, the tests, the GPA, as you mentioned it, all those things about school that confused you as a parent, so that you were better equipped to get your child onto the next step of the education ring, whatever that may be. And when we met for years, where did we meet? Well, we were over at the church. Yeah. Our Lady of Guadalupe. Yeah. The ICUC folks. The ICUC folks, which were kind of the impetus for the. In fact, you were with us, weren't you, Mr. Garcia? Didn't you come with us sometimes? Somebody did. Who came with us? Anyway, they were very specific about the things that they needed from a parent center. When I saw your list of social services, that threw me. That isn't something I don't think we should be advertising, because I'm not saying help of any kind for any family is good. So please don't misunderstand what I'm getting here. What I want is for us to be very school-centered, so that the help that we're giving is very student-centered, so that we're helping those families with their students. And I understand how everything is interconnected, but I don't want us to get off focus or to get off topic. I think we still need to keep in mind that our primary reason for being there is the student. But she said everything that she said you guys do everything. The workshops, that's very good. I'm so glad to hear that. That's the warm environment, I like that. That's all positive. So I think those ought to be on your list. So those ought to be the things that we're advertising, that we're giving those workshops, that we're giving that kind of advice. And the other is nice, but that can't be our primary reason for being, you know? That's just my feedback.
Thank you, Trustee Alavi. Trustee Lee.
Excuse me. Thank you. Thank you, President Hunt. Thank you, Gabby, for coming and sharing with us all the great things, and also Dr. Holmes. And also thanks to Ms. Oliva and Ms. Moreno, too. I know it's not easy to get up here in front of us to talk about anything, but especially something so personal than your own kids and your experience. So I echo what Mrs. Alavi said, that it's wonderful to hear that this thing that we talked about through the LCAP process is working. And it seems like we're getting a really good return on our investment. I see the staffing here is a very short list, and it's a very small building over there that you weren't run out of, and you're helping thousands of people. I think it's something that we need to share with the community of the great things that are happening at our district and serving families, the whole family, just like we try to serve the whole child. So I do have, I don't want to say some concerns, but I guess more questions. If we're looking to expand into other locations, I think is wonderful, go out to the community. How are we looking to staff those? And do we have enough support and resources to serve those we're trying to serve now?
So we are short on resources with the current offerings that we have throughout the community. We have been in conversation by way of our LCAP updates to inform cabinet members about the continuum of needs or the outstanding needs that persist, and we're working on a plan of gradually filling those needs to make sure that there is adequate support to staff the satellite as well as the hub, if you will. And so our current plans are to add another supervisor position, which Susanna Zamundio currently occupies, to be able to work the satellites with potentially another community assistant, or we're calling them family engagement specialists, to help provide services as we branch out.
Thank you, Trustee Lee. Trustee Locke Dawson.
Hi, thank you, ladies. I just had I guess, how are you making up your annual work plan, or how do you determine what the center looks like. And are you looking at other centers? Are we at the vanguard here, or are we, looking at other centers nationally or in the state? I'm just curious, what's your model?
So I think the center it's been in its inception, and one of the things that we've recognized is that we do need more structure. And so Gabby and I are actually in the process of visiting other districts who have a family engagement division to understand how they orchestrate support to families from a district down perspective into the community, and the various components that we would still require in order to make sure that all of our efforts were getting to the needs of kids. But outside of that, one of the things that we feel is going to be very instrumental in this process is the survey data. We believe that we'll be able to develop some very clear goals about what pivots and directions we need to take based on the feedback that we get from our parents and the community. And Gabby started with her team last year surveying the parents about what they needed in terms of the summit, and we're providing those things. But in terms of crystallizing and bringing some cohesion to everything, we're still in the processes of working through that. But we are looking at other districts.
I think that would be kind of a neat thing for us to see just as you're moving forward is, just your planning and just your goals of what you want to get done. That will help us marshal resources too, where we are. And I know you've been a big support to the special ed community because I've heard from a lot of the moms out there that sort of revived and given a place for folks to go and get that hot cup of coffee and talk. So the other thing I was just going to ask was, I know that Mr. Nieto's center also does some of this work. I mean, are you coordinating or are they overlapping? I mean, you do referrals and you do, like the Borrego Health, I know comes to you guys too. So how do you work with that? I know we're going to hear from you in a minute, but...
So Mr. Nieto's work and his partnerships focus on direct service to students, and then the work of the Family Resource Center is direct service to the families of those students, if that makes any sense. And his program is focused on the pre-K age students, and the support that's provided at the Family Resource Center is children of all ages and their families as their needs dictate.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question for you from Trustee Alvey.
This is a follow-up to Mr. Lee's question. Regarding your new outreach at your different sites, what kind of services primarily will you be able to offer with just one person and a volunteer? What is your primary focus for these outreach centers?
Well, we want to be able to provide the same services that we're providing here. So if, Rosemary comes and sees us at Casablanca or at, the east side, that we're able to provide that type of service, the same quality. That's what we want to be able to provide, the same quality that we're offering at our main center that we're reaching out and providing with these satellites. As Dr. Holmes said, we are, in talks with our administration about hopefully funding another position with ALCAP to be able to provide those services.
But you won't, with one person, you couldn't do, do you plan to do workshops and things like that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very good.
Now it's my turn. First of all, for y'all that can't read it up there, what it says there in the green on that slide, it said, never get tired of doing little things for others. Sometimes those little things occupy the biggest parts of their hearts. I'd probably add lives too. So I was surprised, like Mrs. Alvey, that you offer some of those things. But again, we all come from a different background. We all started at a different point. I was raised in a home with two loving parents. Neither one of them got to go to college, but college was always talked about. We had stability. We had food on the table, and all of that. I know that Dr. Farouk has shared with us that he comes from his mother was an immigrant and didn't speak English. So we all have different places, and I appreciate what y'all are doing. I'll defend you always, but remember, as Mrs. Alvey has said, it's about the education of the student and student achievement. As long as you're telling me that Mr. Hunt, we have to help them with their immigration, and I pick on that because it's just a topic that's sensitive out there. but I'm ready to stand beside you on it if it means that it brings stability, and stability brings student achievement. So we thank the parents for coming tonight. One last thing. Have you got your sign yet? It's been 1 year. Do you have a sign out there? Dr. Lewis, do we have a sign out there yet? When do you think we might be able to get a sign out there so folks will know the Parent Resource Center when they drive by on Magnolia is there? I know he's pick on you on this, and you're the one, just because you got the job, so pass it on to Ken. He'll get it done. I see my special ed parents, our special ed parents. Are you here for the Head Start thing too, or are you here just for this? Okay, so I'm going to let the board, so y'all can leave gracefully, because I know you have children if you're special ed parents. We're going to just take a 5-minute break before we hear the Head Start report from Dr. Holmes. Thank you, Dr. Holmes. 5 minutes. ¿Cómo se va? Se va bien, you know. We're going to go to item G2 as soon as I lost Mr. Lee. I'll wait for him. I'm sorry. You want to go? Okay. I'll wait for him. He's very big on Head Start, so. I hear him. So Mr. Lee will be buying. Oh, here he is. I was going to have you buy everybody one after. Dr. Holmes, I think you're up again for G2 Head Start Governance Annual Report, which we will find on our 147 to 158 in our packets.
Actually, Mr. Nieto is going to be presenting.
Mr. Nieto is going to be presenting.
Yes.
All right. Hi, Joe.
Thank you, Dr. Holmes, President Hunt, Dr. Hansen, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to give you a quick update about our Head Start programs. So a quick overview, I will briefly give you a Head Start summary, talk to you about where our Head Start sites are located, a quick description, update on Head Start governance, brief description of our monthly progress reports, which are usually put forth for consent, a brief description of our annual approvals that need to be approved by the board, and a quick update on the final rule on Head Start eligibility. So quickly, our Head Start programs, they are federally funded. This year we are receiving $1,194,728 for our Head Start program. Riverside County Office of Education, or RCOE, is the grantee. We are considered the delegate agency. We serve 192 students and their families. We just received an additional 16 slots that were recently approved by RCOE, so we were able to start an afternoon classroom at Fremont Elementary School. The Head Start program is 3.5 hours a day, 4 days a week. We do not hold Head Start classes on Mondays. That is for teacher planning, teacher staff development, home visits, parent conferences, and paperwork. And we have 6 teachers and 9 instructional assistants in our Head Start program. We always maintain an 8-to-1 ratio. So for every 8 students, there is 1 adult. Families must qualify for services. Of course, foster and homeless students do have priority. We do not, there are less barriers to get in a family that's foster, or students that are foster or homeless. We make sure that we expedite the process. And we have 10% of our families can be over income if the child has an IEP or a learning disability. Our Head Start sites, we are at Jefferson, Longfellow, Fremont, Madison, Jackson, and Highgrove. Quickly update on Head Start governance. We do have a policy committee. That is our parent committee, very similar to a school site council. So each of our Head Start classrooms, the parents at the site vote 2 parents to be their representatives, and we meet with them monthly at our office behind Ramona High School. We are also looking to start up a governance committee where we include principals of the Head Start sites and invite a board member to be a part of that governance committee, which would take place about every other month. Head Start regulations require that certain decisions or items are approved by the governing body, which is you, and we are expecting a full program review from RCOE in March of 2016, right before spring break. So monthly progress reports. There is a progress report that is given to the board for consent monthly, and some of the required topics that we need to present to you for approval would be our budget report, our USDA meals and snacks, our program information summaries, and our enrollment report. So the next slide is a quick example. This is a sample from November. So you always be updated on our enrollment. On our program information report, for example, it tells you that 7% of our Head Start students are foster, 8% are over income, Again, that's for families that their children have a learning disability or an IEP. And it'll also update you on our screenings and how many students have a disability. The second section on the left will always update you on what parent meetings we have at the site and what the training topics are and how many parents attended those trainings. You always have a program activity summary which outlines how many of our children have IEPs. Right now we're at 20 of our Head Start students have an IEP. We have 10 students that are currently being assessed for special education, how many parent conferences and how many home visits we conducted. You always get an update on our attendance for each month. On the right-hand side, you will see what trainings that our staff received, our preschool teachers. You'll always be updated on our meal counts. In-kind is volunteer services. We're always trying to have our parents volunteer, or any time a community member volunteers, we count that as in-kind, and we have to earn a certain amount of in-kind money. And you will always get an update on our budget.
Joe, I'm going
Yes.
to interrupt you if you would take a question from Trustee Kathy Allen.
Sure.
Yeah, microphone.
Remind me, if I understand it correctly, are there attendance requirements?
Yes, we always have to make sure that we're above the 85%. That's our goal.
I was noticing that your afternoon classes are...
Yes, and actually we have a great partnership with People Services and Dr. McGuire, and we actually partner, and we're tracking our students, because in preschool, if they're already showing chronic absenteeism,
Right.
we jump on that right away. We meet with the family. We try to break through those barriers. And Pupil Services actually sends staff to support us in that endeavor, because we know that if we can't nip the attendance issues in the bud in preschool, it's only going to get worse as they move on.
Right.
So we're constantly
The report's
tracking
really
this.
good, though. It's very clear. It's easy to read.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alvey.
Annual approvals. There are certain approvals that the governing body needs to approve, and what we've done is pretty much consolidated those approvals in our continued funding application, which I will bring forward to the board in April. So the continued funding application includes our school readiness goals. It includes our goals and objectives for the program. It includes our child recruitment selection procedures, includes our self-assessment and our corrective action plan, and includes our strategic planning and needs assessment. So all of that is consolidated when I come before you in April to get the continued funding application approved for 16-17. Also, the financial audit, that needs approval, but this is the financial audit that you receive district-wide. So that's always approved each year as well. And really quickly on our selection procedures, Head Start families, they are selected based on family size and household income. So the Office of Head Start has recently issued some guidelines on this, and they call it the final rule on Head Start eligibility. And just to summarize the final rule, it clarifies some changes. So when we're enrolling a family and we cannot verify income with traditional means, paycheck stubs, taxes, then we have to get a signed declaration of the family's income. And we can do an income verification from the employer, but we have to have written consent from the parents to talk to their employer. We need to keep all of our efforts documented to prove without a doubt that the family qualifies for Head Start services. We do need to keep eligibility records for at least 1 year, and we do have procedures or actions against staff who intentionally violate eligibility regulations. What the federal government found was places across the country were coaching their parents to give false information to qualify for the program. So we're very careful about that, and we do have procedures in place for staff that intentionally violate those rules. And that is a quick update on Head Start. Any questions or comments?
If you would take another question from, well, first from Trustee Dawson, please.
Yes.
Oh, I just want to say thanks, Joe. I was so impressed with your operation over there when I visited, and I can't believe the amount of reporting that you have to do to keep this and your other programs going. And I got it. Dr. Hansen, he's amazing. I just think he's done a wonderful job over there. So
I'm very proud of my team. Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. From Trustee Farouk, please. Dr. Farouk.
Hi, Joe. I just wanted to thank you for reaching out to me. I know you had mentioned that Ms. Cloud was very involved with your efforts, and so it was a pleasure to visit. And like Trustee Locke Dawson said, the amount of regulations you guys have to deal with is just incredible. So thank you for all your efforts.
Thank you.
Trustee Alavi.
I just had a question regarding how many families apply that you don't accept?
For Head Start, we have room for 194, but we also have 624 state preschool slots. So what we do is the family does not qualify for Head Start, then we can place them in state preschool where we can give the same type of services.
Most families do get placed?
Yes.
Okay.
And thanks to LCAP, families that do not qualify for Head Start or state can qualify for our partial pay program or our subsidized program, where they
Okay.
can pay a low daily fee and they can still get services.
So we're in the business of trying to get everybody into preschool.
That's the goal.
Thank you.
Joe, what do you do about, do you track your young graduates and
Oh,
see
yes.
how they're doing against the general pop, let's say?
Yes. So we track all of our students and how they're entering kindergarten. We track that very carefully of how they perform on their assessments. And 65% of the students of Head Start students specifically, that went through our Head Start program, when they start kindergarten, 65% are already scoring core or benchmark. We want that to be 100%, but we're making progress each year.
Do you go beyond K, or do you look at them as a...
We are tracking them, but specifically that's where our starting
Sure.
point was in K, and then we're putting together longitudinal data.
Well, 65% is a good base number to climb from.
Well,
Thank
we're
you for
shooting for
your
100.
report, and thank you, Dr. Holmes. We'll move now to our action calendar. We've already done action on H1, so CBO Mays Kadish will help us. She's got a plan here for us to cover H2, H3, and then an item after that.
Good evening again. Every time there's an opportunity for any of our general obligation bonds that have been issued or any other debt or CFD that would be available for refinancing, COP, like certificate of participation, we would like to bring you that opportunity so we can generate those savings in an environment such as low interest. So I invited our bond counsel, Mr. David Kasnoga, and to guide us through the next three items and answer any questions, giving you background and answer any questions with regards to the actions that you're taking tonight. We also have available Mr. Tim Cardy from Piper Jaffray to answer any financial questions that you might have about the economy or the interest rate. And so they're both available, but I'd like to call on our bond counsel to come up to the
About the
podium.
economy, we can ask him about...
Yeah, he's Mr. Know-It-All. He has an
Right.
8-ball.
Oh, okay. State your name for the record and go for it.
So my name is David Kasnoka. I'm a partner at Stradling, Oka, Carlson, and Roth in San Francisco. This next item on your agenda relates to the possibility of refinancing bonds that the district sold in May of 2008. The resolution, which is required to be adopted by just a majority vote, authorizes the issuance of general obligation refunding bonds in the par amount of not to exceed $52 million. And it authorizes some of the supplemental documents that are part and parcel of doing a refinancing. They include the preliminary official statement, an escrow agreement, and a bond purchase contract. You may know this, but the way that the benefits of a refunding bond are translated to property owners is that the proceeds of these 2016 bonds are deposited into an escrow fund. They're going to be held in that escrow fund until August 2017. And during that time, the interest earnings on those bonds are going to pay the debt service on the 2008 Series C bonds. And so the 2008 Series C bonds are going to be what they're called defeased, and they're going to be replaced with the 2016 bonds, which would be secured by the ad valorem property tax. So at the closing of this bond issue, the old bonds go away for the security of the taxpayers, and the new bonds replace them. The county tax collector is going to get a new debt service schedule from us, so that the county is going to then collect less money each year necessary to pay the debt service on the new bonds because we're saving the taxpayers money. So when you sell refunding bonds, you have to meet two legal tests. One is there has to be savings in the community, and all the benefit has to be for them, not for the district. And you can't extend the maturity of the bonds that are being refunded. So unlike a home mortgage where you may say, well, I want lower monthly payments, I'm going to convert my 15-year mortgage to a 30-year mortgage to have lower monthly payments. You can't do that in bonds. So with that short background, the resolution would allow this transaction to go forward subject to the continuing market conditions that would produce the savings that meet your financial policies.
Am I looking, Mays, is there anything else? Trustee Locke Dawson, followed by Trustee Farouk.
Did we did this on another series last year, did we not? Okay, yeah, all right, this is the ones that I'm trying to, in my mind, put back where we did it before. So I was on the Finance Committee at that time, so.
The reason why there's these rolling transactions is that most bonds are sold with 10-year protection for investors. So as you get closer to the 10th year after bonds were sold and interest rates are low, they're candidates for refunding. So districts that have had large bond programs in the past and have sold bonds every couple of years, as a result of that, every 10 years for each of those old series of bonds, there's a refunding possibility. So you just can't go out and do them all at one time because you're not close enough to that 10-year date in which the bonds can be redeemed. That's why you see one last year, you see one this year, you may see one in a couple of years in the future.
And if I remember correctly, excuse me, I remember seeing a schedule of our future and when we can do them and when they come up. So I think we stay on top of this pretty regularly, right? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
So
Trustee
this won't
Farouk.
change the maturity years for this bond as it was stated.
Pardon me, Mays. Trustee Farouk.
Are there any special limitations with the savings from these financing efforts?
Yeah, the limitation is that 100% of the savings and the benefit has to be returned to the taxpayers in the form of lower debt service payments. So their tax rate will be slightly lower for everyone who owns property in the boundaries of the district.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Allaby.
When we met in December, I remember that this was something of a timely issue, and was it interest rates that were changing rapidly, and we were trying to meet a certain deadline. Have we met that?
It is interest rates. We were worried about the Feds changing the interest rates upwards, but we had been prepared for that and calculated this within the interest rates that are currently. But again, Mr. Carty can speak further to that. He has updated information.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jim Carty with Piper Jaffray, the district's bond underwriter. Yeah, I think what we had wanted to do was come promptly before your board to then give ourselves the flexibility, depending upon market conditions, to try to capture the maximum amount of savings to taxpayers. So I think we're on that schedule. We're bringing this before your board this evening. We have scheduled credit rating meetings to get our credit ratings reconfirmed, and then the plan will be to monitor market conditions and then try to take advantage of them when the maximum opportunity presents itself for taxpayer benefits. So we're adhering to that strategy of moving quickly and getting before your board with document approval as soon as we can.
So this crazy economic thing we're in isn't affecting those rates?
Well, the crazy economic things that we've seen have actually been a benefit. You know, it's one of those things where, generally speaking, bad economic news is usually good news if you're a local government seeking to borrow money. So all the money that's flown out of the stock market and out of the Chinese stock market and all of this has actually been of benefit to interest rates for high-grade, United States Treasury instruments or school bonds. We still have a little ways to go and some steps in the process before we can access the market, so there will be ups and downs. But generally speaking, everything we've been reading about for the last month or two has probably actually benefited us if we can, by the time we are prepared to take advantage of market conditions, still capitalize on that. But yeah, it's actually worked to our benefit a little bit.
Tim, I have a question from Trustee Lee.
Sure.
If you or David, I don't know which one.
I think I'd like to have Mays weigh in, and maybe our bond counsel too. So in light of the fact that we're looking to put a bond forward sometime this year, have we in the past, Mays, if you're aware, or maybe other districts that you represent, how have they communicated the good stewardship on behalf of the district to refinance these bonds that don't benefit us at all, but just the taxpayer, to show that we are good stewards of money when we're trying to get more money in an upcoming bond.
So in the past, for the Series B, when that was refunded last year, there was a press release for that, and then it was actually reiterated when I came on board, because I found out that we had done that, and we are looking to go out for another bond. It was republished, and I think Justin helped us do a press release when we first, like in the beginning of summer. And so that's what we will do again if this comes to fruition and it meets the investment policy or our financial policy. We would also do another press release to make sure that everybody in the community knows the story.
Yeah, I would just agree that whatever means you normally use to communicate good news to the community, press releases, website, those sorts of things, you'll want to get out the same word if we're in fact able to consummate this to the community.
I was going to echo that same, I would hope, not just press release, but on our own website, Facebook page, et cetera. Justin, whatever you think. I don't know if you want to tweet it or Twitter or snapshot it, whatever those things are, link it or whatever. But it is good news, and it's financial stewardship. So thank you. I'm looking for a motion on this. Oh, I'm sorry, I have one last speaker, Trustee Allaby.
No, actually, I was going to make a motion.
Well, if you would.
I would like to move to approve item H2, the general obligation refunding bonds.
That would be Resolution 2015-16-31.
Yes.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I heard Mr. Lee first, so Mr. Lee will second it if you'll all vote now in your preference. And thank you. That carries 5-0. Let's move forward then to H3, which is Resolution 2015-16-29, and it's some of the same discussions as Series A bonds.
So the next item is the CLP, wasn't it? Right. And so this is an opportunity for refunding on a certificate of participation, which is a borrowing that the district had. So the savings would actually save the general fund dollars from paying the same amount. With the same duration, we can actually generate lower payment, and it would relieve general fund from that obligation. If you want to.
Do I need to go to the no, I
We need to approve that one first,
okay.
And then we can
All
move
right.
them.
Go ahead, David.
So this resolution, as a reminder, in 2001, the district sold certificates of participation. They did that the same way that you're proposing to sell the 2016 refunding bonds in the public markets with an official statement with a whole collection of investors. As the years have passed, there's only a modest amount of those certificates remaining outstanding. And the amount is so small that it's not cost efficient to offer up to $4 million of a lease debt to the public through a public offering. So Tim and Adam Bauer have been working with private investors and have identified Capital One Bank through their investment arm as a purchaser of a 2016 lease, which will replace the 2001 lease without really altering at all the remaining 10-year maturity date of the borrowing. Doesn't alter any of the covenants and conditions of the 2001 transaction. You're going to continue to have to budget and appropriate each year amounts sufficient to pay the debt service on the lease. And much like in 2001, when a lease is sold, there are always two parties to a lease, the lessor and the lessee. The lessee always has to be a political subdivision because it's only payments of a political subdivision that has a component part that is exempt from state and federal income tax. So back in 2001, the district formed a not-for-profit corporation called the Riverside Unified School District School Facilities Corporation, and it acted as the counterparty to a variety of lease financings that the district has done over the years. Well, they're back to help you out again in 2016. And they're party to a couple of the documents associated with this transaction, the lease, the site lease, and they assign the rent to Capital One. So the reason why you're having a school board meeting and a meeting of your not-for-profit corporation is that there's a resolution for both entities to approve the transaction that would authorize the sale of a $4 million lease to Capital One to allow you to generate some general fund savings with respect to that old obligation.
I think we need to approve the one in this board meeting, and then we'll open the.
So that is your recommendation, to the staff's recommendation is for approval?
Yes, because this pending the market, or actually for this one, because
You
it's a
have a locked-in
private,
rate.
we already locked in the rate. So we are going to generate savings that is within our policy, and we recommend movement to the refunding.
I'd love to see that in the future instead of we will consider. I'd love to see what you think the recommendation should be. So, Mrs. Alavi, you have a question. Trustee Alavi.
I will move for approval of item H3, then the resolution for the Series A, execution of documents relating to the sale and delivery of a lease purchase agreement.
Thank you, Mrs. Alavi. Do we have a second to Mrs. Alavi's motion?
Second.
I have a second from Dr. Farouk. Then, hearing no more discussion, please vote. That is approved. Thank you, Dave. I'm now going to adjourn our
recess.
I'm going to recess. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
It's always good to have an attorney around, whether you need one or not. I'm going to recess the public session and convene the Board of Directors of the Riverside Unified School District School Facilities Corporation for consideration of Resolution FC 2015-1601. David?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this resolution has the same effect as the board just voted sitting as a school district. It authorizes the corporation to enter into a lease, a site lease, and an assignment agreement to facilitate the district's refinancing of 2001 certificates of participation.
Thank you, sir.
It's required to be approved by a majority vote of the board of directors of the corporation.
I see no. I do have a speaker. Trustee Lee. Trustee Lee moves for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
On this? Trustee Alavi. Or I guess what have we called on this? We're Director Alavi actually on this. So Director Lee and Director Alavi, motion and second. Please vote. That again is approved by a 5-0 vote. Thank you. I'm going to adjourn the meeting of the Board of Directors of Riverside Unified School District School Facilities Corporation meeting and reconvene the public session of our regular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tim, to you and our good poly graduate, thank you for the work you did in finding that private entity. We appreciate all that y'all do for us and your good work. Stick around. Thank you, sir. Good evening to both of you. Okay, we're going to move now to H4. This is approval of classified minimum wage employee salaries and classified substitute rates. We're going to hear from Assistant Superintendent Susan Mills.
Good evening. I'm bringing this to you tonight. For the last 15 years, we have not raised our sub rates for classified. In fact, in 2001, the district, during lean times, we froze the sub pay for our classified staff. And in order to meet our LCAP goal and hire highly qualified subs, which we often recruit many of them from our sub pool into our regular pool, we looked at districts around us, what they were paying their subs, and we are proposing rates that are one range below what the people in the position are paid. For instance, an account clerk is at range 18, and we would propose hiring a sub one range below.
What percentage is that difference usually?
Well, there are many different, if you look on this chart, there's many different.
Let me just interject if I might, Susan. We're on page 319 in your board agenda, and she just gave the example at the very top, the account clerk, the current versus the proposed. Okay, thank you, Susan.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Hansen.
I have a question, Susan. If I don't know what was going on in 2001, and I've only been here for 8 years, but why this got froze, and thank you for bringing it up, and I'm sure it's been a frustration. We need to have some sort of mechanism. I call it, whether it just you automatically, your office reviews these things every 3 years or something, just to make sure we don't have something sitting there for 16 years, that nearly set 15 years. So I would hope, and I appreciate what you're doing here, I would hope we can develop something to give our employees confidence that this sort of thing doesn't happen again. I understand why we can freeze something. I was part of doing that several years ago, but whatever reason in 2001, there's nobody up here that remembers, and nobody out there that, maybe you were, Dr. Lewis, you were young and spry in those days, but but I don't, there's got to be a reason that it happened, but I don't know what the good reason is that it's been sitting there for 15 years. So thank you for bringing this forward. Do I have any, I don't see any speakers to this. Do I have a motion for, she's asking for approval on this, this item H4.
So move.
Dr. Farouk moves. Second is Mrs. Locke Dawson. Seeing no other speakers, please vote. All right, that is approved 5-0. We're going to move to Board Policy 1312.3. Tim Walker, our Executive Director, Pupil Services.
President Hunt, Dr. Hanson, members of the board, before you tonight is the board policy we brought to you before the break for the holidays. We told you that there would be some subtle changes coming back for the second read. This is in regard to the uniform complaint procedures. These would allow us to come into alignment with both Ed Code and requirements for the law. We're asking for you to consider taking action this evening, as there'll be no other changes at this point in time. Dr. McGuire is here to answer any questions if you have any.
We do. We have a question from Trustee Kathy Alloway.
Sorry about this, but it's just the wording of the policies that I object to. The policy's awful because it's just a bunch of gobbledygook, I know, for most people with all these numbers, and it's not easily read. But mainly I'm arguing about the purpose and the position. And I'm doing this on both this particular policy and the next policy. The purpose of this policy is not to ensure compliance. That's the purpose of the rules that you've got and the Ed Code. But I think the purpose of this policy is to define ways our students and parents can solve problems within the district. That's the purpose. Unless I'm missing something completely, that's what this uniform complaint is. And the position of the Board of Education would recognize the need to offer pathways to solve complaints, which is a much better way of saying it than saying that the purpose of this policy is to ensure compliance, which I think sounds awful. So you're setting out ways that you are going to be compliant, but I don't think that's the purpose of the policy. So I would like to recommend that we change the wording of those two things.
Well, I understand what you're saying.
State your name for the record.
I'm Gary McGuire, Assistant Director, Pupil Services. I agree with you that it doesn't flow very well. CSBA had provided that language for us, and
of course,
yes, and so we were using that. But on the other side of it, part of the purpose is compliance, because we are required to have a policy by federal law because we take Title I monies. And as the years have gone on, the state has added other parts of this to be in compliance with Ed Code. So it is a dual purpose. I see what you're saying. It is a pathway for resolving issues. I agree with you on that. And some of the language in there alludes to that.
yes. I get the meaning for what you guys are doing here, and I know you're doing it to conform with Ed Code, but I just don't think that wording is a good way to set up our policies. So I don't know.
Well,
It's just
how
my-
about Mrs. Alloway? If there's no objection to Mrs. Allaway's good point, and obviously our staff agrees, could we move forward with approval as written, but ask and assurances from the superintendent that he'll make sure that preamble, as you've stated, will be included?
The board can certainly take action on that with a subtle adjustment to the purpose statement, if that is the request of the board. Leave it to staff to work with Ms.
The purpose and the position statement.
Yes.
Yes, that
okay,
would be
then would you make a motion for that, Ms.
I
Allaway?
would. I will move for the approval of the uniform complaint policy, minus the purpose and position, which the wording can be worked out at a later date.
All right, Mrs. Allaway.
Would you like that to come back to the board, or for it to be adjusted and finalized?
I think it can be just run past the superintendent.
Okay.
I think if you include it in our board packet, just what your new
Be
opening
happy
is,
to.
that would be fine. I have a motion, though, right now. I don't have a second at this time. Mrs. Locke Dawson seconds. Do I have any other speakers on this item? All right, all in, well, vote as you see. I'm all in favor. Mrs. Alavi's motion is carried 5-0. Thank you. We'll move to new policy, board policy, first reading regarding district residency investigations.
Mr. President and Superintendent, members of the board, this is a new board policy required with action taken with a new law that went into effect on January the 1st related to investigations and home checks for determining residency within our district. This is a first read that, again, the language is associated with the CSBA in regard to coming into alignment with current board policies across the state, Ed Code, and our requirements under the law. So you can take action. We can bring it back for a second read if that be your pleasure.
Would you just expand a little bit on your comments? I understand that this has to do with, you said with state law, but it's now required that we give notice.
That's correct.
To parents before we just show up like we used to.
That's correct.
Okay, so
we give notice and let them know that we will be coming out to do a home check in regard to determining residency within the boundaries of our school district.
And that notice is how many hours? 24?
Dr. McGuire, I believe we have 3 days that we're supposed to give notice.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Well, it's more than notice. There are a lot of districts were using unethical practices to do investigations. And so the purpose of the legislation was to ensure that these unethical practices did not take place. For instance, just surreptitiously taking videos, et cetera. So we don't, in the policy, there's no direct language about providing notice for that. We can go out and do those residence checks. We can knock on the door, see if they're home. But we have to follow the guidelines that are within the policy so that we're not violating their rights or invading their privacy. That's the basic purpose of this.
Right. Trustee Alavi has a question for you.
It's my same problem that I had with the last one.
I figured
The purpose and the position. The purpose of the policy is not to ensure compliance with the current education code. The purpose of the policy is to define the ways in which the district defines and authenticates student residency. That's the purpose. And let's just, from now on, if CSBA suggests wording that's just, just forget it. Okay, the position of the Board of Education believes that all children should have an opportunity to receive educational services and staff shall encourage parents and legal guardians to enroll all school-aged children in a school appropriate to their residency. That's the position. So I'm not saying that this is wrong, but it is worded so awful.
Well, they're from Sacramento, Kathy. That's
Yeah.
the,
Sure.
everything applies
So
to
again, I will move for approval
Thank
of the
you.
district residency investigation policy with changes to the purpose and the position.
I have a motion. Do I have a second to Mrs. Alavi's motion? Mr. Lee then seconds that, and Mr. Lee has a comment. Tim?
Quick question. I'm guessing, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm guessing that our other policies that we've passed in the last few months probably have a similar purpose and position?
Yes,
All of them have a purpose and position.
But I'm sure they're written similar to the way they're written currently?
No,
They're not? Okay.
because we changed to this format several years ago, and at least I've been like a hawk about it. Whenever a new policies come in, that we actually state it in a way that's supposedly user-friendly. That was the purpose. The purpose and the position are what you read as a layman, if you will, that tells you the reason why this policy exists for the district. So it's very important to me that at least those suggest a little user-friendly way that the policy should be helpful. So I've been very careful when those have come before us to make sure that they are aligned.
That was just my comment is I'm going to make sure that if we're going to start changing the
No.
I can recall Mrs. Alavi doing that with Mrs. Cloud.
That's it.
So.
That's all.
All right, so you're second that, Mr. Lee. And so I have no other discussion. Please vote on the motion. The motion to approve. And so that is with first reading approved. We now go to H7, which is also a new board policy, 511.3.1, chronic absence and truancy, first reading. Again, Mr. Walker.
Mr. President, Superintendent, and members of the board, again, this is a new policy, brings the district into alignment with current new changes to the law, which require us to have a board policy related to chronic absenteeism and truancy. We're asking that the board review and recommend this particular policy, and that we have the ability to take action on it this evening, as the language will not change. Again, I understand your concern, Ms. Alavi, and we'll be happy to consider the same language as you have requested for the other two, if it be your pleasure to make a recommendation.
I have no other speakers. Mrs. Alavi, would you like to take up Mr. Walker's offer?
Yes, I would. But this one isn't as bad as the others, because at least it does define exactly the purpose of it. So I only had one correction in this one. But I will move for approval of the chronic absence and truancy policy with changes to the purpose and position.
Thank you, Mrs. Alavi. Mrs. Alavi motions for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Dr. Farouk, thank you. We have a second. I have no other speakers. Please vote. That item is approved 5-0. Move to our final item. We have a Dr. Hanson, we have a H8. Please explain.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Hunt. At last board meeting, you'll recall that for the 2016 year, you identified and calendared the regular meetings as well as the study sessions. It was brought to our attention that there was a mistake, and so the recommendation is to change it, and it's regarding the month of May. We have a regular board meeting scheduled for May the 2nd. We do have May the 16th is going to be our student recognition board meeting. And then we originally had a June 6th board meeting, and that's the night of graduation. And so the proposal is to back up 1 week to May the 31st, which is a Tuesday. Monday, May the 30th is Memorial Day, and so it would be very much like tonight, have a Tuesday meeting. And that would serve as our regular board meeting that would typically be done the first week in June. And so the recommendation is to move June the 6th to May the 31st. And then, of course, we'll have our June 20th study session.
All right. Dr. Farouk, Trustee Farouk, you have a question? We have a motion to approve from Dr. Farouk.
Second.
I have a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote. And we will meet on a unanimous approval. We'll meet 3 times in the lusty month of May. So, all right. We're moving now to board members' comments. Conclusion of the meeting. Mrs. Alavi.
Thank you so much. I really wanted to talk about this at the last meeting, but it was such a busy meeting, I decided to wait on it. Dr. Farouk and I attended, towards the end of November, at the City Hall, a kind of a seminar on the Harmony Project. The Harmony Project is a music program for elementary students. They take children who are from underserved populations, and they have designed a program to offer them music in a way that is very, how should I say, nourishing. I just wanted to read you just a couple of things. They take all of their programs go from 3 to 6 in the afternoon, because that's the time that they've determined the kids are at most risk for behaviors. And so they serve currently 1,940 students. Each student receives 5 hours of instruction per week from one of 150 teaching artists. The average student spends 6 years in the Harmony Project, and 97% of the 2014 graduates were accepted to a 4-year college or university. So, yes, they take kids from underprivileged families and they teach them music, which by itself would be a pretty neat deal. But what they've done in addition to that is they've also been testing these kids as they go, and they've been giving them all sorts of brain tests, if you will, and they have come to the conclusion that musical training can help disadvantaged children strengthen their reading and language skills, according to research presented at the American Psychological Association. And they actually took MRI studies of these kids, and they showed that there were actual changes to their nervous systems that created better learning and helped offset this academic gap that they were having. And they can actually demonstrate it by showing you kids from families that are well off, who have good language skills, then kids from disadvantaged families who have poor language skills, and you can see very clearly different areas of the brain that are not aligned. And then they take these same kids, then they give them 6 years of musical training, which is not only learning to play an instrument, but read music. That's part of it. You have to do the both. And it shows almost a similarity with kids from privileged backgrounds. In other words, the language deficits have been made up by this early music training. And when they continued the training, of course, most of the kids that they were worried about were possible kids that might get into gangs and so forth, because they're dealing in downtown Los Angeles and so forth. And they were able to keep kids out of gangs. There's a whole bunch of wonderful things about it. Margaret Martin, who is the founder of this, has a really compelling personal story. She was homeless and on the streets, and she's worked herself through UCLA, believe it or not. And she was the one who originally recognized that music might have a compelling interest in lower economic families, and she's actually begun the whole thing. So what I would really love it if we could possibly invite someone from the Harmony Project to speak to us, maybe speak to the principals, maybe speak at some future point. And I'm going to hand you this information, Dr. Hansen. Dr. Farouk, did you want to add anything to that? I mean,
yeah,
because he heard it as well.
Yeah, I just want to echo your sentiments. I think maybe this could be something that could fall into the LCAP, where the district can have a role in moving it forward. But I feel like the community is going to have to play take a lot of initiative to really, attract the resources and make sure it's implemented.
That's true.
But I would definitely want to be involved in supporting that effort.
That's true. It is a big community effort. They do a lot of fundraising because it's a nonprofit. But I'm particularly interested in having her explain the research that is in back of this early music program. And once you've seen it, you go, wow, I wish I could go back and put a trumpet in my 2-year-old's hands again. But, it's pretty remarkable. Thank you.
Is that it, Mrs. Ali?
Yes.
All right. Trustee Dr. Farouk?
So Trustee Hunt and I had a chance to chat a little bit about how we can expand engagement with our students. And, I actually, when I was a student at Hoopa Unified, I was the student ambassador, where I got to actually get the full board packets and vote in an advisory capacity for a whole year. I mean, it's a smaller district, there are only 2 schools. But I thought that maybe for the administration to consider visiting the possibility of doing something like that here with RUSD, some space right here. We could rotate. I think making a 1-year commitment would be too much actually to expect a student to do that. But I think if they rotated amongst the schools, and we could look at different models. But the beauty of it is we could have them to get that experience of engaging the community. But the bigger thing is all of the board items, they're going to have a basis to actually be engaging their student population on what their input is. And so I think it's a way that we can really start expanding our dialogue. And so I want to commend President Hunt for engaging with me on that, and I hope that's something we can consider.
Thank you, Dr. Farouk, for those words, and thank you for your comments. Mrs. Locke-Dawson, clerk. All right, Vice President, Trustee Lee.
A few things, but I'll try to make it quick. First, I always think it's amazing that it's, like 9:15, and some people have been here since 4, and we have parents like Mr. Solis in the back, who I've seen him a few times. I know he's a parent, Washington, right? Yeah, he's a DLI student, so he's got little kids at home, and he's still here. And I see Mr. Dunlap back here, too. I know he's not required to be here unless Renee's changed, but he's always here, so I just think it's great. You always see the same faces here at the end, and Mr. Reller, Gage's new principal, is here, and he's got to sit through these things on this side of the dais too, back at his home. So I think we're lucky that we have engaged employees, engaged parents that come to our meetings and stick with it. we did have some exciting things happen in our agenda. And also, we got Mr. Martin. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave you out either. You do a great job on behalf of the teachers that you represent. And you've got a lot of other things I know that you could be doing right now, and it's probably getting close to past your bedtime. So, good to have so many engaged people that care, that don't need to be here, but choose to be here because they value what goes on at these meetings. So thanks to all of you. I also wanted to point out, and I know Trustee Hunt and a lot of other people up here have talked about it, is with our student representatives, and you talked just now about student engagement, and our student from EOC, what was her name? Mrs. Aber, right?
Ms. Aber.
You know, she really talked about the things, at least that I want to hear as a board member. What is going on at your school? Not a list of activities or what's the theme of your prom, which is great, but maybe those principals or their student advisors can advise their students that, why don't you provide us a list of fun facts about your school, what's happening, how many football games you won, and not necessarily come up here and read that, but tell us what's going on at your school and what's important, and how as board members can we be more supportive in that capacity. So we really can, I mean, they're the ones who are here to serve, so if we don't hear from them how we can be more in tune with what their needs are, we can't help. You know, it goes through so many layers from before it gets to us. So if we could hear direct from them what's important to them and how we can make a better impact on their experience through our schools, I think that would be awesome. What else did I want to say? Oh, one more thing. I was on my other hat, my real estate stuff. We're experimenting with some advertising and marketing in a different direction, more community-focused, school-focused. And so I was just doing some research online about what information is online about our schools. And there's not a lot. And I know this is just one more thing to add to your list, Justin, but I think in the future it would be nice that every school has a website that is promotional in nature. You know, if I'm a parent and I'm a parent, I have to choose right now if I'm going to enroll my student, my son, in our home school at Pachapa, or am I going to apply for a transfer and try to get him another school. But if I go on our website and I'm interested, for instance, in looking at Castleview for DLI, there's very limited information for me as a parent to obtain, right? And as I started looking at other schools, it's the same thing. And I realized it's a resource issue, it's a time issue. Being in private business, it's hard enough for me to keep my own website up, but I know that our school administrators and our staff have a laundry list of things they need to do. But I really feel that this is something that's really, really important, and maybe we can rely on our students to create some of that content, to update the website, to take the pictures, to really promote all the great things happening at all of our schools, so when someone's looking to enroll their student at one of our schools, they have an online resource that they can get some inch-deep information before they start calling the principal and calling staff and calling parents, should I send my kid here, should I send my kid there? So I don't know if we can come up with some support system to help school sites build out their websites with content. And I know that's a lot of work, but I think that's really important. Or even a promotional video that people can see what the school look like, what programs are offered, to make it that parent excited about sending their school or sending their kid or enrolling their kid in school there. So those are some of my observations.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Do you have anything else to add, Dr. Hanson, or any late moments or anything you want? Okay. I agree with Mr. Lee, and what I'd like to see, I don't know if at Pachapa the principal's in charge of putting that website together, or does she or he get help from the district office, and so on and so forth. I'd like to have an understanding of that, because some are going to have the time and the skills, and some aren't. If we need to bring in some help, it really is about our advertising. It really is about telling our story, and that's what I fear a little bit about the bond, which I can't talk about, is how well have we been telling our story in the last several years, and you never tell it well enough. That's why Coca-Cola continues to buy ads and change their can every now and then. So we need to do a better job of that. Maybe Justin and Dr. Hanson can give us some insight to that next time. I've also asked, just so you know, Cheryl will be getting a hold of you. Just instead of it used to be we got assigned what graduation we were going to have, it's up to you to choose. If there's, you know, if Kathy, if you and Angela pick the same one, I'll let you guys work it out, okay? I mean, that's just where you want to go. We want to move around the district a little bit. I have asked Dr. Hansen to, and I'll save my thoughts as to why, to begin to get the principals attending these meetings. We'll work on the agendas so we don't keep them this late, but as I shared with Dr. Hansen, this board, they're his principals, he's our employee, but we want to get to know, particularly now as we're in trustee areas, and we learn how to be the trendsetter, the pioneers of trustee areas. I think all of us have talked about we don't want to end up like our friends down at City Hall where we're defensive about our own areas and all that we're looking out for the good. But we need to know our areas better, and knowing our principals, not so much on a, I don't want to know their grandchildren's names and all that, but I have learned so much by having a relationship now, professional relationship and understanding with Betsy Schmeckel at Arlington. She has helped me understand a lot of what my role is. And another thing she helps me understand, even though I kind of grew up there, but still, is what is that constituency that she represents? And, you know, I can't say that I know my constituency that well, but certainly my principals, the schools I represent that are in my trustee area, can help me understand that constituency. We heard tonight about parent centers that we all come from different backgrounds, and though I agree with you, Mrs. Alvey, some of those things at a parent center wasn't what I had in mind, but that's what a Hunt would be looking at, and help with homework or help with this. Anger management wasn't usually a big problem in the house, but there was a good 24 moms there that day. So my point is getting to know our constituency better to help better represent what their needs are as we work with our employee, Dr. Hansen, to forge a future plan for the district. So hopefully then we'll begin to see the principals here, and we can make sure that we get them out of here on time. We can handle some of our business in different ways. I'd also like to hear from, it doesn't have to be as formal, but Ms. Lynn Carmen-Day, Chief Academic Officer, how are we defining success under LCAP with our foster kids? I have some friends here in town that are very involved with foster. They're questioning, and I just want to understand that better. How do we define success? I think it's easier with some of our other LCAP, not easier, but more definitive of our LCAP assignments, but certainly that is a difficult one, and I'd like to know more about that. I thank the board. We have a meeting. Our next meeting will be 2 nights from now, January 21st at 4:30 at Lake Matthews. That will be a special board meeting that will be on the, as you heard, the facilities. You have a lot of homework to do between now and then, and it's been well put together. Doctor, you want to say on that? Dr. Lewis, anything else? Just, okay. Read and read. All right. Our next regular meeting will be on February the 1st. If there's any other, Mrs. Alavi's mentioned an agenda item, and so is Dr. Farouk. If there's any other agenda items that you would like to see for that meeting or future, please let myself or Dr. Hansen know. Tonight we will adjourn. Tim, if we could, I would adjourn as well, and you have the sympathy from this board, who are your friends, for your sister's passing, and we know that. We will adjourn in honor of two of our faculty staff that have recently passed away. You heard about Master Sergeant Johnny Hillary, who passed away unexpectedly on December 29th. He worked at RUSD for almost 10 years. Prior to that, a distinguished military career. All those years were teaching JROTC at Arlington High School. As we heard from the young people, he'll be sorely missed. And Mr. Jack Hurley Smith, who passed away on December 14th. Mr. Smith, known as Snuffy Smith, was, I think it's notable to say that he was a World War II veteran. He flew B-17 missions over Europe, over Germany, successfully flying 25 missions. The rare distinction of completing 25 missions earned him membership, and don't nobody get on me, in the Lucky Bastards Club. And he returned home, studied economics, and eventually he and his wife Jean moved to Riverside, where Mr. Smith became a beloved teacher at Poly High School for 24 years, retired in 1976. Among his students was trustee Kathy Allavy. So we will adjourn in memory of those two fine gentlemen and RUSD employees. Thank you.